It's thebarlive.com PMS for a Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday after a long Memorial Day weekend. Hope you all had a good time. Digit check. Everybody got their fingers and toes? Nobody blew anything off with an M80 or anything like that?
No, man. I lived through the weekend. Am I coming in there, Jimmy?
That is, of course, Brandon. He telling us that he lived through the weekend, which is good. Got a wicked weird echo going on here. Don't know what that is.
Let's see. Am I working now?
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Here's a couple of things you need to know. It's Wednesday. That means a full slate of programming here on thebarlive.com following this show, PMS, which you can hear each and every day, noon to 2 on thebarlive.com. We've also got Y&R Radio. That's coming up at 4 o'clock today. Y&R apparently stands for You're Never Right. You may notice I have nothing in front of me here. Boy, do I have stories to tell. I have been through an incredible weekend, folks, and I will share each and every nook and cranny of this weekend with you. Some of the events may turn up in our Douche of the Day segment. Some may turn up in three things. Others just randomly. Oh, we also have today, if you're interested, if you're sitting around tonight or would like to check out the Big Dave Show, that airs tonight. 7 o'clock. They hit the ground running at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, now I think they might have changed the name, though. The Big Dave and something show.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. We used to have... Oh, now Scarface is behind us. We used to have... Why is Scarface behind it? Are we trying to get the hip-hop audience? Is that what we're doing?
We're trying to broaden our demographics.
Is that it?
Our range.
All right,
we had people over this weekend at the Sunbrew House.
Oh, did you?
Activities.
Okay. So we'll have to find out about all of that.
Yeah, the young girls like that.
The young girls like the Scarface?
Yeah, it just looked better than a big picture of Big Dave. It's hard to explain Big Dave. I can't hear myself. In the
Ask his
earphones,
wife. Yes, it is hard to explain Big Dave. And if you'd like to give that a shot, Big Dave is airing tonight right here on the Bar Live, 7 to 9. Also, check out each and every one of these shows via podcast. You can find them on the podcast link at thebarlive.com. You can also find the Facebook page, which we need you to start liking. I don't know what's going on there. You're all watching the YouTube. You're all hitting the numbers there. We're feeling very good about it. But you're still just frequenting the individual Facebook pages of the shows. We're trying to create one big Facebook page. So if you have any kind of love in your heart for this little operation, you're going to head on over to the Facebook page, The Bar Live, and you're going to click like. Okay, Jimmy Ryan is here. Hi, Jimmy. How are you?
Hey, man.
Jimmy, we're having some microphone issues. It's all right.
You know what
Mine
the
works.
issue is that I ran this board Sunday at our live remote, and he's getting the repercussions from it right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing that's what the problem is.
Bunch of little fingers hitting buttons and all of that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Brandon, how are you? Well, first of all, nice to have you here. This is must be a special occasion of some sort.
Yeah. There's a lot that happens this weekend that I thought I should be part of. I mean, I'm getting texts from you at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, that was accidental. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I sent that to you, and I'm like, oh, God. See, here's what happened. In my text files, the people who I text the most are all right there at the top.
Okay.
And I text the most out of everybody. And underneath that is my ex-wife when I'm texting about my kid. And it was like 4 a.m, and I was texting with one hand, and I was trying to soak a kid in a bathtub with the other, and I hit send, and then I realized that I sent it to you. You were fishing?
Yeah.
Of all the things that Brandon got, I mean, certainly Brandon is a fisherman, but a different kind of fisherman. Were you legitimately fishing at 4 a.m. on Saturday into Sunday?
When we come back, I'll show. I got video. I got pictures. I'm working on my new segment. I take this job seriously. I got the cooking segment every week. Remember?
Yes, that's right. Where you made eggs in the microwave.
Guess what we're making this week?
That was kind of the gist of it, wasn't it? Hey, here, you can put eggs in the microwave.
If that's all, hold on. If that's all y'all got from that, y'all didn't watch the video because there was so much more. It was so in depth.
You can also cook steak in the microwave. I'll just point that out, but you wouldn't want to.
But nobody knows you can cook. Jimmy, were you aware about cooking eggs in the microwave?
I've always hated the smell of eggs in the microwave.
That's what it is. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It really enhances the smell. It smells like farts.
Can we go back to this later so we can show the video?
Yes, yeah, we will.
Do
We'll
you
go back
mind?
to that
I
later.
think we need to promote my video.
All right, Brandon's got a special segment about making fart eggs in the microwave, and we'll be playing that for you a little bit later. All right, 3 things. We start the show off with 3 things each and every day, things that are on the top of my mind. First of all, this is first things first. What the hell is going on in North Dallas? I had to come from all the way up north in a driving rainstorm. Now, Jimmy, you live in that direction. Do you take Marsh all the way down, or do you take the tollway?
Yeah, I take Marsh. I try to avoid all the tolls as much as I possibly can because I just racked them up like the first time around.
Yeah, I got to do that too.
So, yeah.
How did you rack them up with the first time? What do you mean the first time around?
Well, the first time I got what are they, the toll tags you can get from them?
Oh, yeah.
I ended up just keep going, and I didn't realize that my address was different, so I was really racking them up. And then they ended up sending me a bill for like $1,000. I ended up
those
saying
tolls are a scam.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Real quickly,
Total scam.
public service announcement time for you guys. Just be aware that you can get out of the fees are like $25 per toll.
Right.
You can get rid of all that stuff. If you're not aware of that, I'm telling you right now, you can call in and get that all dismissed very easily.
Yeah, you did never pay the whole thing. You just go in. That's what I did. I once had like $600 or something ridiculous, and I went in there and I talked to them, and they eliminated all the fines, and they just boil it down to what you actually
you
owe.
don't have to even go in. You can just call and negotiate over the phone.
Yeah, you can do it over the phone too.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I went in. I think I went in because it was $600, and I thought I was going to need to talk to someone in a suit. No, just a clerk, same person, and then just started eliminating, what I was supposedly indebted to them for. So, yeah, it worked out well. I was surprised by that. I think it was like came out to be like $60.
Instead of
it was
$600?
like instead of $600, it was like $60.
The problem that I have with this is that back when there were actual people taking the tolls in the little boxes, you went by there, you said hi to them, and you knew that was probably the only job that they could do,
Right.
And you felt good that they were working. It's like the guy who's bagging things at Kroger. And then you're like, oh, good, they're employed, they're doing things. And then they got rid of them. They still wanted the same amount of money. Now they want more.
Yeah, they
you
want
lost
more.
the whole personality behind the sale, right?
Yeah.
You feel cheated.
Well, they have sped up the process. I mean, it is quicker that there aren't these delays at the time. So that's nice. But we did put out of work an entire industry of people.
It just sounds
In the
like
state of Texas,
Jimmy misses
anyway.
the one-on-one communication he had between him and the toll attendant.
Well, I miss knowing where our sex offenders are for 8 hours a day. That's what I miss. Seriously, have you ever seen those people? I mean, the worst looking people. And I'm not saying that this
You're
is
being really harsh
I
right
am
now.
not being
So
really harsh.
judgmental.
No, I'm not. Yes, I am being judgmental. I've been through a lot of tolls in my life, and I've made a lot of snap decisions on people and toll booth people. Toll booth people are right there between Toll booth people are right there between what was the other group of people that really freaked me out? It just escaped me. Elementary school janitors always freak me out.
I was just about to say janitors.
And elementary school janitors. I don't know about the other, but like the weird 28-year-old dude that's like.
Well, because
Pugs-
when you're looking for a job, let's say I'm going for anything. I'm stopping by McDonald's before I stop by the local elementary school.
Yeah, but you know what
for
I
a
think,
janitor
you know
job.
why I think dudes get that job? I think it's like the loser son of the school secretary. Those are the people that get those jobs.
They are usually related.
Yeah,
They're
because
like, I can get you a job.
you can't get a gig like that in the open market. You got to know somebody. You got to know.
Jimmy, if you ever feel lonely, you can go to the airport. They still have live people in person to take your toll.
They
fees
do?
at the airport. Yes,
It's the only place.
and
Yeah.
way to get rid of all of our toll
Stopping
listeners,
terrorism.
our toll attendant listeners out there, Pugs.
Yeah,
You just wiped
sure,
them all out, dude.
Right?
We
Yeah,
just lost 3 listeners.
because they're all tech savvy. They're all listening online and all that stuff. All right, so it's toll booth attendants, weird group of people, elementary school janitors, and school bus drivers too. That's another one. These and you might recognize a pattern here. I sort of came up with all these theories in the 8th grade, looking at people that was school bus drivers. Has anyone ever seen a school bus driver that anyone that you know would have sex with? Anyone ever?
No, I don't think so.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, they always. First of all, let's get away from the body weight thing. They're always exceptionally large.
Yeah.
But their hair. If they have hair, it's always like really greasy and stringy and weird.
It's like that's the prerequisite
Something
to actually
weird.
get the job.
Yeah.
I did remember and I'll never forget the numbers. Bus 316. Every single time I got on there was this really big bus driver lady, and she never once got up. Like, we would always talk in the back of the bus. We'd be sitting there going, I think that she lives here, and
Had
she
she
just sits
fused
there.
to the seat
Yeah.
like obese people sometimes do to their couch?
Yeah, because she would get so angry with us in the back. Like, sometimes never once would she get up. She would just wave her finger at us. And we were like, well, better stop. She's never going to get up, but, we might get written up or something.
We're talking about bizarre jobs that seem to cater to the bizarre among us. The
What about the
strangers.
school crossing guard walk people? Are they weird? Because that.
No, that's usually like an old dude who lives in the neighborhood who's just looking to get out of the
Can I
house.
tell you a funny story in 2 seconds?
I mean, that's not to say that they're not weird, but most of the ones that I see, it's kind of like old dude, he's cool.
Back in the day, they used to actually use sometimes what appeared to be off-duty police officers. We're way back in the day. They even had uniforms in my neighborhood, okay? And one of those guys and it might have been security guard people, but he gave me a bullet. He came to my house because my mom said, hey, can you help? We think someone broke in our house because I lived right by school. He walks in and when he's leaving, he goes, hey, kid, and gives me a bullet. Is that not, who gives a kid a bullet?
That is jacked up. How old were you?
I was like 5.
Did you tell your parents?
My mom was right there. She's like, I think I'll take that and give it to your grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't give a kid a bullet.
You
What
give
the
me a
hell is that?
bullet.
What an idiot. And this is the guy that's in charge of determining when it's safe for kids to cross the street?
Yeah.
A guy who doles out bullets to little kids?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That is weird. I got a weird bus driver story. I had a bus driver once who decided that the problem was that kids were standing on the seats. And the bus driver didn't like that. So in all of this bus driver's wisdom, how he decided that he was going to stop kids from standing on the seats was he was just going to lock up the brakes while all the kids were standing on the seats. 5 kids went flying. 2 went to the hospital with concussions, and 1 broke a wrist.
Wow.
Yeah, we never saw that bus driver again. And I'm like in 8th grade. I'm thinking, this is this. First of all, school administrators, this is the guy that you entrust with us on the open roads. Not in like Texas or Florida where you can pretty much predict the weather, but in Chicago where there's always like an inch of ice on the roads, you're gonna trust this guy to make wise decisions. A guy who wanted the kids to get off the seats, so he locked up the brakes and sent them all flying to the hospital. Are you kidding me? So school bus drivers have always had a high place in my list of people that I just disregard.
Have you seen the videos, like the home videos, like on America's Funniest Home Videos, where the kids all fly up at the same time and hit the roof on buses?
Yeah.
They hit a bump and all of a sudden, boom. And
Yeah, seatbelts on buses has been an issue that they've been pushing for years and years and years, but they just don't do it. They
still don't do it?
No, there are no seatbelt. Well, I haven't been on a school bus in a while.
Because how can you fight with other kids like you normally do on buses?
How are you gonna force 80 kids to put seatbelts on when you can't force them to not stand on the tops of the seats?
Yeah.
We used to call it bus surfing. You'd stand on, you put one foot on one seat back and another foot on the other seat back, and you'd bus surf.
It's funny, as an adult, it's crazy how different I've gotten over the years, how safety conscious I am. I was the first kid to do anything and try anything. I could care less, okay?
Yeah.
And I never got hurt. Now, as an adult, I think about all the things that can go wrong. Like, please sit down because you're going to bust your ass. You're going to bust your...
But
I
you
look
know
at
why that
every
is?
scenario because I'm an adult. I don't know.
Because you're an adult. It's because you've been hurt.
Several times.
Yes, because you've been hurt. You learn from being hurt. When you're 8 years old, you've never really been hurt. So you got no fear,
I find things that shouldn't even worry me on buses that can hurt me now. I'm like, that handle over there, if I was to fly forward, I'm going to hit my damn jaw into that. So,
and watch when you're 60, how freaked out you are about falling. You think it's bad to fall now. Wait till you're 60 or 65.
have you fallen in the last 10 years of your life?
Yes.
And got hurt?
Yeah. No, but I've fallen really bad. I tripped on a curb in front of a bunch of people getting out. I was going to a bar appearance. It was with you. It was like I don't know where it was. I think we were back 9 or something like that, like a year ago. And I got out of the car and I was walking and I tripped on the curb and just ate it right in the.
I did that on a fuel pump. You know when you pump your gas and the little line goes across it kind of dangles low? Mm-hmm. I freaking tripped. Me and Stephanie at the gas station, I tripped on that thing. And I literally flipped, busted my iPhone to pieces, or my BlackBerry to pieces, but it was sad.
That's another weird job where weird people seem to gravitate to, the late night gas station convenience store worker dude.
Absolutely, dude.
The creepiest one though was there's one on Beltline where they still have the full service gas, and it's
Really?
24 hours a day.
Where's it at?
It's right on Beltline. If you're going down Marsh, it's on the left. So you go down Beltline a little bit from Marsh, and it's on the right when you go on onto that. But it's the creepiest thing because I pull up. And, I'm about to get out and start walking up, and he just kind of comes out of between the gas
Like
thing.
you think you're getting jacked.
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on here? He was like, oh, full service.
Dude, you're too young
What?
to remember, but when I was 16, they were all over the place. And I was such a dumbass. I was a kid that actually I thought it was really cool. I did the full service. I'm living in Pleasant Grove in South Dallas, paying for full service gas
You
attendant.
just sit there.
Of course, I was making decent money.
It's like an extra 5 cents a gallon,
more
but
than that.
well, it didn't matter because gas was only $1.20.
Yeah.
You know, it's like now. Well, I do full service all the time. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I remember when self-service was exotic. I remember when I was driving, everything was full service. I mean, this was different.
They would
state.
check your wiper blades
Sure,
and
check
wash your
fluids,
window.
They'd pop your hood. They'd clean your window. They do all that stuff. And I remember having to learn how to pump gas because we had never done it. We had always, my mom always got full. So I'd never really had to pump gas before. So when I started driving, I was like, ooh, I'm not exactly sure I know how.
Weren't you?
No.
Okay, because when I tear down my household, if we could save a penny, we were saving a penny.
My mom puts a high premium on quality of life.
Like I said, full service gas attendant. Of course, yeah,
we struggled, but we were comfortable.
Okay,
You know,
I gotcha.
but it was a struggle. All right, so that's one, weird jobs, toll booth attendants. Two, getting back to what the original one was going to be, everything. All right, so here's the deal. I'll talk about my kid this weekend. Boy, oh boy, did I have an insane, horrible, horrifying yet really fulfilling weekend. I was coming back from the doctor this morning, and my kid's got a thing, and he went to the doctor yesterday, and the doctor said, "Can you bring him back tomorrow?" I was supposed to bring him back at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it was like a last-minute thing, so he said, "Yeah, come on in, 9 o'clock when we open up, we'll get you right in." He called me at like 8:30 and said, "Look, can we move it to 11?" And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So I was all the way up in Frisco at the doctor and getting my kid checked out. Everything's fine. And I'm coming back home probably about George Bush. Actually, you know where like Willow Bend is? Right around that. So I'm heading down the tollway. I'm heading south down the tollway at about Willow Bend, approaching the George Bush. And something just struck me. The whole world looked weird. It just looked odd. First of all, it's pouring down rain outside. We've got lightning like Thor's having a battle up there. I mean, it is wicked cool lightning. But as I approach George Bush, I start to notice there are no lights on anywhere.
Oh.
There is nothing. There's none. The street lamps weren't on. None of the overhead signs were on. All of the bank signs were all down. I'm looking at all of the offices. There isn't a light on in any office. All of the apartment complexes to the left, like around Frankfurt and the tollway, everything is pitch dark. People are walking out, and then you get to the office buildings as you go further down the tollway. People are now gathering like out in front of the office buildings and all of that. Apparently, there is a widespread blackout going on in North Dallas right now.
Young Pugsleys, oftentimes when there's lightning and thunderstorms, sometimes we'll have what they call blackouts.
I know. I'm simply trying. I think I've been through a blackout before. I've experienced this. But what I was struck by was how different the world looks at 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the mid-morning with no light. I mean, the light we take for granted, the little lights that we just take for granted. And it was such a stark comparison. I mean, it was obviously something different about the world. And I was like, what is going on? Oh, all the lights are off. I mean, everything. I don't know if it's still going on right now, but boy, it was such a large area. This is going to be a news story. This is going to be, unless they get it right back up.
The thing that always surprises me, I guess it shouldn't anymore, is like if the lights go out, the electricity's out in the house, I will always, doesn't matter how long they've been out, flip the light switch whenever I walk into a room. Damn. Flip another one. Damn.
Yeah.
Flip another.
Because you're a positive dude. Yeah. You're always looking for the positive. You're an optimist.
What I love about you guys is y'all have to have a thunderstorm for that to happen. Y'all never just had your electricity cut off. Where I grew up, it could happen at any given moment. It could be sunshiny as can be.
Dude, I pulled into my apartment complex where I live on Friday with my kid. I picked up my kid. I pulled into the apartment complex. We went shopping. We had a little bit of food. We're pulling in, and I see an Encore truck by the power box. And then I got the Spilkis. I was like, am I all paid up? It is about that time of the month where they would shut you down.
They don't come out no more. They do it all electronic. That's all through computers now.
Do they?
Yeah, which is a good thing because if you're in the situation where you could get shut off, unlike waiting before, you had to wait 24 to 48 hours. Now you can be turned back on in a matter of 10 minutes.
Love it. Really?
It's awesome.
I didn't know that.
But you know, I'll tell you one thing I've always enjoyed about my Sunbrew Dodgeball team. I met Wes. You know little Wes?
Sure, Wes.
The guy worked at TXU for many years, and boy, whenever they jacked with me back in the day when I'd have a tough time or just, it's not that I couldn't afford it. I just never paid my bills.
Thank you.
I'm
Been
busy.
Been there.
I get busy, I forget about it, and I procrastinate. So, man, I cannot tell you what a pleasure. And thank you, Wesley, if you're listening right now, because what a pleasure it was knowing him. Because boy, they'd turn my power off, and I'd call Wes up, and there 10 minutes later, there we go. In fact, one guy was at this house. I go, dude, I forgot to pay it. I'll pay it right now. I got to cut you off. I go, dude, let me give you $20. Don't do it. I said, I promise
That works.
you. I go, it didn't work. I go, I promise you'll be back here in 20 minutes. No, I'm not. I'll be back in a couple of days. I go, I'll give you money. I'll give you $40. I said, okay, you don't want the money, but you're going to be back on here. Sure enough, guess who had to come back and see me 20 minutes later? Thanks to my boy Wes.
Yeah.
He doesn't, by the way, I won't say his last name. But yeah, that guy came back, and I looked at him. I go, should have took the money.
I know people.
I'm
Sunbrew Brandon. I got it all hooked up, bro. You got to trust me on this. I know that you're probably a negative dude. You're running around turning people's electricity off all day. That can't be a feel
it's
good.
to know
but
people.
you gotta trust someone every once in a while. Yeah, I had that once. I was living in the Legacy right there, Legacy in the Tollway. I had a kick-ass, still my favorite apartment of all time. It was a kick-ass place. And everything was happening great for me. I mean, I had the money and all that. But I came home, and the dude was, like, turning off my power just because I'm terrible at, like, paying those things. Because I see the bill, and I go, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I got the money.
Me too.
I got the money. I'll get to it. And then you forget. Something comes up. So I lift up my window, and I see the guy down there because he's right underneath my window, and I'm like, hey, I'm on the phone paying this right now. And he's like, oh, it didn't come up on my computer, because apparently they got a computer that'll tell him everything's all right. And I go, come on, man. And so I walked down there, and I gave him $20, and he left.
I would think
and I
I
was legitimately paying it on the phone, too.
Nice.
I would think usually that would work. I got out of a speeding ticket the other day because of the whole Sunbrew thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I was over in, I don't say where, but I was in a place and not far from the Sunbrew house.
Okay.
And I got pulled over in 3 or 4 weeks ago. I got a ticket. I think I might have sent you the video, Jimmy, when I was getting pulled over and I had the cop behind me, and I was like, I'm running late, guys. Here's why. And I forgot to use the whole who I am, what I do, all that kind of crap, and who I know until it was too late, and I got the damn ticket. So I was like, God dang it, because I happen to know some pretty high-ranking cops in this particular area. So this week I got pulled over leaving a bike event, and I go, bro, listen, I'm running late. I'm doing this. And by the way, is so-and-so still working with you? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, oh, man, you're that guy we've been hearing. He just knew who I was. He was like, I know who you are, man. I'll be right back. And he came back and goes, I'm going to let you slide this time, but slow down, man. Thanks for the calendar.
I love that. I used to get out of tickets. I had my friend growing up. His dad was a big, high-ranking cop, and everybody knew him. And I was in the car once with my friend, and he just leaned over to the cop, and he said, hey, you know my dad, like that, and it was over. It was just over. It was like beautiful, and the guy's like, hey, you're Melvin's boy. I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, I'll tell you what, you kids, you be safe. You drive out, and it was awesome. It's awesome getting out of tickets.
Yeah, I used, man, should I say this? Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
You know the best way to get out of a ticket, and I don't want everyone using this because if it happens, I'm gonna lose my ability.
Defecate.
You got no. You say you have diarrhea. Sir,
Yeah.
listen. Follow me to the restaurant. Let me go do what I got to do, and I'll gladly take the ticket. I got to get there. It's worked 100% of the time.
For all you little leaguers out there, that's a good way to get out of school too. If you have a mother who loves you, no mother who loves you is going to send you to school. My mom used to go to work before I went to school, and whenever I needed to get out of school, I would play the diarrhea card because my mom loved me, and she didn't want me going to school and having diarrhea and being scarred for life as the kid who pooped his pants in 6th grade. She didn't want that.
That is brilliant.
It's brilliant.
I never thought to do that.
Play on the fact that your parents love you and don't want you embarrassed in school.
I gotta tell you, in my entire life, I don't think there's one day ever that I ever had diarrhea at school.
I did. Sometimes those complaints were legitimate. I
could go for days. I mean, I could go 6-7 days without having to use the number 2.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Would you go number 2 at school?
Oh no. Let me tell you how I know.
Oh,
Let me tell you how I know. I would go spend out at people's houses, and I love to get out of my house because where I grew up, I love to be anywhere but my place. And I would be there for days, and my stomach would start hurting, and I'd fight it off, dude. And I remember I could go like 5 or 6 days, man. And by the time I got home, though, I would not use there was no bathroom I would use. Even if you were my best friend, I wouldn't use your bathroom except my house. Yeah, I never did the number 2 anywhere but my home.
I'd go out of my way to use people's bathrooms. It's like christening their plumbing.
Goodness.
Yeah,
No.
3rd floor, library, handicap stall, bathroom. That was my office, man, in high school.
High school?
In high school, man, every day for usually before first period. I'd
I didn't
get
think
there.
they had doors on our high school stalls.
What the hell did you go to school? They don't have doors?
Because of all the drug activity and the guns and stuff. Yeah, I grew up in a
we
bad
didn't
school.
have that. I went to a good school. No, we had doors. We had doors and clean toilets.
You know when you get locked up, the worst time when when you're in jail and you're sitting around waiting to go to number 2, and you're waiting, right? And you know how it is. Like you're waiting, and then now it's been 4 days. Now it's 5, and it's getting worse. By the way, when you do this, it's gonna be bad. And I went like 7 or 8 days, and the toilet at Lou Stairs is like right below the TV and stuff. It's
so they're all looking at you.
That was so horrible, dude. You're like, oh God, I can't wait for rec time because it's about to happen. I got to do this today. And you're hoping everybody goes to play basketball and they leave the thing to do what you got to do. And then you're gonna make it just reek in there because it's been so long, you know.
I can't see a toilet without having to go. Seriously, if I see a toilet, I'll be like a little will go in my belly, and I'll be like, yeah.
Well, you're the reason I like candles.
Toilet. Yeah.
Do you like the candles that are always lit in the bathroom here?
I don't make them. Yes, it's very nice. There are nice smells going on here.
I like that. You just see a toilet and you're like, oh, not a bad idea.
It's like something in my mind goes,
You
now
want to
would
christen
be a
it.
good time. Yeah, which is the other thing. I've heard this is a very real phenomenon that people will associate certain things with having to either defecate or urinate. And famously, I have a friend who, for some reason, can't walk into a Hallmark store without immediately having to take a pee. I know, it's strange.
What the hell?
I don't know. It's a weird sort of thing. I have that to a lesser degree, but I don't. Maybe other people do as well. I can't walk into a locker room that is attached to a swimming pool without having to go pee. And I think it's the humidity. You know how you walk into a locker room of a swimming pool and it's real humid from the pool and all that?
Yeah.
I think that's it. I immediately have to go pee anytime I walk into a locker room that's attached to a swimming pool.
Have you ever pooped in a portable toilet?
I do draw the line. I would rather go
You
in the
never
woods.
once in your life, Jimmy?
No.
Portable toilet?
Well, real quick, I would love that you could walk all 3 sides of a locker room and then finally find out that there's a pool on the 4th one, and you're like, well, I'll be right back.
Well, no, I'll know when I walk in. It's the humidity. Yeah. It's the change in climate that makes me have to go, number one. It's strange. I mean, like clockwork. If I walk into a health club that's got a swimming pool right there in the locker, because locker rooms are always very humid and sort of sticky.
Lots of bacteria you got to think of, fungus.
It triggers something where I'm like, okay, I could squirt. I just gotta walk over and I'll go to the bathroom. It's very strange.
So Jimmy, have you ever had to use a portable toilet?
Yeah, I've definitely had
for
to.
number two.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I fought that because of all the BMX racing and travel we do. They're always part of the life. And one day I was like, oh my God, it's gonna happen, and I cannot. I will drive my car 30 minutes to go to a toilet if I had to. Okay, I'm real keen on that, dude. Trust me. And I will. But man, one day I had to break down and do it, and I could not believe it. Once it was over, it wasn't so bad, but it was the worst thing. Just like the pre-walk, the walk up. There's like death row. you're doing the walk, like, oh God, here we go, and you're trying to. Oh, it's horrible.
I'm thinking of an outhouse. I don't guess we don't really have outhouses here. I've never really
You're not that old,
experienced
dude.
that. Well, no, but where I grew up, it's half of the land is protected by the government. So it's all what we call forest preserve. So it's all forest. People go out there into the forest. And the forests have picnic tables and baseball diamonds and clearings, and they all have outhouses. They all have wooden outhouses, man. There was... I would not go near those things.
Spiders.
Yeah, just really sick stuff. And everyone's, going to do a prank. Oh, let's rock the outhouse. No, I'm not while I'm in there. So I will famously take a dump in the woods by holding onto a tree rather than use an outhouse.
I won't even go in.
Dude, first of all, you guys saw my gag reflex the other day, right? You saw what happens. I can't go near one of those things. I can't open it without... And if I'm at a festival and they have those blue porta potties, I can urinate in those, but I can't go number 2 in those.
Yeah, if you ever do the gay for pay, you're gonna be horrible at oral.
No, I'm not. I can't. I just don't have it. All right, we're gonna take a break here. It is thebarlive.com for a Wednesday afternoon. Jimmy Ryan's with us. Brandon from Sunbrew is with us. Got one more of the 3 things that we'll get into. I was the victim of a robbery this weekend. I can tell you that story. Boy, was that fun. Thanks, Dallas Police Department. Seriously, I'm going to go off on the Dallas Police Department. Because I'll tell you something, there may be some good cops out there, but you cops got to remember that each and every time that you are interacting with a civilian, you represent the police department as a whole. One bad cop can ruin it for everybody. I'll tell you that story. Plus, we've got a watch list. And, Brandon, we've got some guests coming by today, do we not?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. We sure do.
Yeah, okay.
MMA time.
All right. So who do we have?
Don't know. Surprise guest. That's what they call surprise guest.
They're not called surprise guests. That means that we didn't do it properly. I don't
No,
know.
I
I don't know who I'm even going to be interviewing here.
You threw
And
me
it's
off
supposed
guard.
it's supposed to be a surprise for the audience, not
Yeah, not for the guest, or
not
for
for
the
the
host.
show.
But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm excited because it's a surprise.
That's okay. Are these the
Their
the guys?
MMA fighters are part of the XKO stuff that's going on this weekend.
Yeah, okay. The XKO show. I don't know if any of you watch this. It's I used to watch it on Saturday nights at 10:30. Is it still on? I thought they ran their season.
I think we'll just save all that for our guest.
All right, very good. So we'll
Get
talk
that
to
kind of
them.
info.
Plus, we've got a watch list. And I'll tell you about my wicked, crazy weekend. The reason that there was no show yesterday. All right, we'll be back. It is PMS, the Pugs Moran Show on thebarlive.com. It's thebarlive.com. Brandon, shut that door. There you go. It really does make a difference. We also need some sound deadening stuff in here. You know, we need some wall foam.
I do agree.
Couple back there. Yeah, we need some wall deadening foam. Sound deadening foam. All right, it is thebarlive.com. PMS, the Pugs Moran Show for a Wednesday afternoon. Get into our Douche tournament today. Whole bunch of stuff. Is the Dallas Police Department going to be my douche of the day? Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
I did see some of your Facebook posts last night as I was just about to go to sleep about the Dallas Police Department, but I wasn't aware of why you were so upset. So,
oh yeah.
wow.
We'll get into that story. Oh, well, they're just so helpful, Jimmy. They're just so helpful to a citizen who's been victimized.
If there's one thing that I took from that Facebook post, it was that you found the Dallas Police Department very helpful.
They sucked. They sucked. I can't. And this is so against my nature. I mean, I have for years defended the police department and policemen in general. I mean, I have policemen in my family. I have friends who are policemen. I've always been a friend to the man in blue.
So,
boy, I'll tell you.
So you are somebody who usually totally respects
Absolutely.
police officers.
Absolutely.
I respect what they do, but I take every single last one of them with a little bit of grain of salt. Because just like we were talking about earlier, a certain person goes for a job to get a toll booth job. A certain person goes, ooh, I hate this new mic, goes and gets a job as a janitor at the elementary school. Just like that, a certain person gets a job as a cop. They want to become a cop, and it usually has to do with power,
right?
A little bit, and like that kind of stuff for any human is going to breed a lot of corruption, a lot of like unnecessary stuff, and you have to win me over, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, there is a difference between police agencies. For instance, big city police typically will leave you going, oh, okay, that guy was cool. That guy helped me out. Suburban police are a freaking nightmare. For the most part, all they're doing is writing tickets and responding to domestic abuse charges. You know, that's really all a suburban cop is doing. Now, that's not to say that suburban cops don't put their lives on the line, because they absolutely do. I mean, a cop is there to be there when the shit hits the fan. But
and that I respect.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get that twisted. I absolutely respect what they do when they are, asked a lot.
Wow.
But, I also appreciate the fact that it does take a certain person to want to become a cop.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes with everything else.
A lot of suburban cops, if you noticed, I've noticed this, a lot of suburban cops are short guys with mustaches.
Yeah.
And we got a theory here. It's a Napoleonic thing. They've always felt somehow that they weren't as manly as all of the other men because they were 5'6" or whatever the hell they were. Yeah. So one, they grow the mustache so that they look like a grown man. You know, I'm a grown man, I've got a mustache. And then they become police officers because nobody's ever going to put them in the corner again. Right. Now they've got their badge and their gun, and damn it, you're going to listen to my 5'6" ass. You know, it's that kind of thing. That's a bad cop.
Right.
That's a bad cop. Now, there are other people who go into police work for other reasons, noble reasons, and, some of them come from the military and all that, and that's fine. That's their career path, and that's what they've chosen to do. But these wannabe cops, these guys that, just wanted to be cops their entire life, and they want it not to serve and protect. They want it because they want the respect. They want people to bow down to them. Those are the bad cops. Those are the ones that you got to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. And I've certainly met, two in particular are cops that ended up kind of falling into it. One was ex-military. It seemed like the next logical thing to do, and he's one of the greatest guys I know. So, I mean, there certainly are great police officers out there, but just like every single group that there is, there's always going to be a certain sect of them that just makes you look bad.
I'll tell you, the best, and I say this a lot, and I had hoped that Dallas would be similar, but it's not. But the best cops that I know are Chicago cops. Those guys, unless you're waving a gun around in a Burger King dining room, they don't care. They're not going to bust you for running a red light. They don't pull people over for speed. I mean, there are some cops who that's their job, and that they're on traffic duty and they'll pull you over. But for the most part, man, it's like they've got bigger things going on because there's a gang fight in progress somewhere, a couple blocks away, or somebody's being raped in an alley. I mean, there are just cops in big cities typically earn my respect more than, say, a cop that's in a small town just getting tourists for speeding through their town,
Absolutely.
Oklahoma cops are a good example of that.
Mm-hmm. It's just good. There's something to be said about a police department that's stretched just enough to where they're only there because they have things to do.
They're not there to get revenue from tickets.
Yeah.
They're there to stop people from shooting people.
Right.
They're real cops. They're doing real police work. They're not. All right, so here's what happened to me, and I'll get into the full story. My son on Friday got a really bad sunburn. Babysitters. Boy, you got to pick your babysitters right. My kid is Irish and German, okay? He is not going to be beach friendly ever. He is pasty. You know, he's got Irish and what is Germany? Northern European. He's got white Irish skin and Northern European, German, Nordic kind of blood. He's not good. He's got to bathe in sunblock if you're going to put him out in the sun. And my kid has been in the sun a lot. He goes swimming with me all the time. He goes swimming with his mama all the time. And he's covered in sunblock, and he has never had a sunburn. He went swimming on Friday with a babysitter who didn't put any sunblock on.
Hold on. So we're saying that maybe Shaw is a better babysitter than the one y'all chose on Friday? Is that what we're saying?
I don't know that you would be putting sunblock on him either. I think
You're
you lucked
absolutely
out.
wrong.
Really?
As a man from the sun industry, come on, dude. I'm from the suntan industry.
All right. Well, we'll get into your babysitting skills at another time. Actually, no, we won't.
I just wanted to point out that nothing like this happened. There were no repercussions from what occurred with my situation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. You're right. This
No
did
trip
not
to the
happen.
doctor. No pain for
No
the
trips
child.
to the doctor. No, that's true. He almost ended up on a milk carton, but we'll leave that story for another
But he
day.
didn't.
But he didn't.
No, babysitting didn't go well if you're having to claim, oh, well, he didn't go to the doctor though. Right, so
Yeah.
I'm just saying your kid was fine and probably enjoyed his stay over here.
He was fine. He does. He loves you. He really does love you. Every time he sees your picture on Facebook or wherever, he looks at the Facebook things and he picks out everybody that he knows.
Cool.
Brandon. He calls you Uncle Brandon, but Uncle Brandon. Yeah, so he does. No, he likes you a lot. I don't know why, but he does. He likes you a
Freaking
lot.
awesome babysitter.
He does. He thinks you're fun. He associates you with motorcycles.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna go see Brandon in the motorcycles, and he gets very excited. He does. All right, so he got a really bad sunburn, the poor guy, and so I get him on Friday night, and I look at him, and I'm like, oh my God! I go, this is not gonna be good. So Friday night, the burn starts to set in. He got it Friday afternoon. The burn starts to set in on Friday night. So Friday night around 8:30, when I'm getting him ready for his bath and all that stuff, getting ready to put him down for the night. His skin is starting to tighten. You know how when you get your sunburn, your skin starts to tighten up a little bit, and he's really uncomfortable. So I say, you know what? All right, we're gonna go up to the dollar store. I'm gonna go get you because I didn't have any aloe. What I had was lanacane spray, which is what I use for a sunburn, which is awesome. I highly recommend it. I needed to get some aloe and to rub on them and all that. So I scoop him up and we go up to the dollar store. Now you have to understand. He couldn't even sit in a child seat because the restraints were going to be too much on his shoulders and all that. You saw the pictures.
Oh, it was horrible.
You saw the pictures. He had blisters. That's why we went to the doctor. He had bad blisters on his shoulders.
Dude, he had a blister that looked like a water balloon on his shoulder. I'm not even exaggerating.
It freaked me out when I saw it. When I saw it Sunday morning, because he didn't have that Saturday night. So that came to be Sunday morning where all these blisters started to appear. And, the poor guy. Tough little kid, though. I mean, he didn't really complain all that. He just wouldn't move. Oh, and Saturday night, it was so sad. This is Brandon when I was talking to you.
Can we show the video? See, we should have had this set up with the videos.
We can. Well, if you got to, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to try and do
plug
it.
my phone in. Well, yeah, it'll work that way. Let me set you keep talking.
We'll only get the audio that way. You need to email it.
All right, so Saturday night, the poor little guy, he couldn't lay down in bed, so he had to sit up. He had to sleep sitting Indian style in his bed. And what I did was I made this giant nest of stuffed animals all around him, so he could kind of lean and kind of relax, but he couldn't lay flat on his bed. It was so sad. So anyway, back to Friday night. So I scoop him up, put him in the front seat, no child seat. No safety belts. Look, we were going 2 blocks away. The dollar store is at the end of my block. He was just in too much pain. I couldn't do that. And besides, he wasn't moving around in the car because he was in pain. So we get to the dollar store. We pull up right in front. Actually, not right in front. Probably a little bit to the left of the dollar store, but certainly a good parking spot if you were going to the store. And I scoop him up, and I have to carry him because he can't walk. Or I think he can walk, but he's milking the whole being a baby thing, So I'm carrying him, and I'm looking for the aloe. by the way, a big giant bottle of aloe for $1. The dollar store is awesome. It really is. I think even if I have money again, I will still shop at the dollar store because I get such a thrill at like how cheap certain things are.
Really? Even that for $1?
Yeah. Although I do have a theory that they do mix in some things for $1 that are like 79 cents elsewhere.
Yeah.
But they just put $1 on it so that they stay consistent.
That's okay, though. It's fun for the experience.
It's fun. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Toys? You should the toys at the dollar store? Oh, my God. They're awesome. They're
Yeah.
just fantastic. So, anyway, scoop him up. And now he wants a lollipop. He's like, I want a lollipop. So we go back by the big, giant dollar store lollipop tree that they have. And he's looking to pick out a lollipop. By the way, the dollar store lollipop tree, 50 cents. Big, giant lollipops are only 50 cents.
Oh.
Yeah, so you get 2 for $1 if
They
you
didn't
want.
go up on those.
No, they didn't. Actually, they're probably like a dime at 7-Eleven. But, whatever. They look good. It's a nice display, 50 cent. So as we're picking out a lollipop from the dollar store, I hear a car alarm going off. Right? Now, my car is relatively new, so I'm not really familiar with my car alarm, what it sounds like. It sounded like a weird car alarm. Like, what is that? Well, I'm not going to worry. What are the chances? What are the chances? I mean, seriously. You hear car alarms all day long, right? So then we get in line. Again, I'm holding him in my arms. I got a lollipop and I got the thing of aloe vera lotion. And some black lady, nice, sweet old black lady, opens up the door of the dollar store and goes, there's some kids breaking into a car out here. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to lose my place in line. Because for some reason, there's always a line 7 deep at the dollar store.
There is.
It's never just walk up, but there's always a line. Doesn't matter what time you're there, there's always a line.
8 places for aisles to be 2
One open.
people. Yeah, 2 people working one of the aisles.
Yeah. All right, so you can guess what happens next. So I decide, actually, then she describes the car, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's my car. So I go out there and I stand in the doorway, and literally the car is 20 yards away. Because remember, I got a good parking spot right there. And here's what I see. I see 2 guys, skinny, dirty, meth head looking scumbags with BMX bikes. Had to have been in their 30s. So first of all, we're like men in their 30s still riding BMX bikes.
Hey.
Something has gone wrong. No, something has gone wrong.
Right, yeah.
All right? I don't know whether their license have been taken away from them or they never had license. Whatever it is, if you are in your mid-30s looking like a meth head, cruising a dollar store parking lot on Friday night on your BMX bike, you are not the one your parents are bragging about at the family reunion, I promise you.
Okay, but the BMX part is irrelevant. It's just the meth head part that counts here.
Yeah, on BMX, but look, I'm not saying that they're pro riders. I'm not saying that they've
Just
got
throwing it out there,
sponsors.
dude. It ain't
No.
all about you.
They're just, they're obviously,
They probably stole them from pro riders, you know?
yeah,
But,
they probably
you know.
stole them from some kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you gotta, just imagine how totally useless I feel. I'm holding my kid who's got severe sunburns all over him. I got 2 meth heads, God knows what they got, knives, whatever. I see them dragging the child safety seat out of the window of the car. They got it halfway out the car. And I the only thing I can think to say is, I'm going to shoot. Right? It's Texas. They probably thought maybe I had a gun. So they immediately stopped. They left the car seat dangling from the window that they had broke, by the way. They shoved it all the way down inside. Now it won't go up. I got to tape it. But I couldn't do anything. I couldn't engage. They were 20 yards away. I got my kid. What am I going to do? I can't engage them with a 3-year-old who's got sunburn. If something bad happens, I get stabbed. The kid could get hurt, whatever. I can't do that. I can't put the kid down and go engage them because it's a busy parking lot with cars. The kid will follow me right into the parking lot and get run over. It's just not a good situation. I felt completely neutered. There was nothing I could do.
Well, yeah, and even without the kid, who wants to spend their Friday night trying to fend off 2,
Right.
speed
Oh,
freaks?
if I didn't have the kid, though, I would have probably been stabbed in the parking lot or something.
Yeah.
And if I had a gun, this is why there's a problem with CDLs, okay? Because concealed carry, not CDL. What is a CDL? CDL is a truck driving license, right?
Gun license?
Yeah. If I had a concealed carry license,
No, if you had a CDL, you could roll right in there.
I wouldn't have been able to park there because they don't allow big rigs. I'd have had to gone. All right, so if I had a guy, and I obsessed on this because I'd often thought that, I'd entertain the idea of getting one of those concealed carry license. This is cool. But I found out something about myself, which now basically ensures that I will never get one of those. These two meth heads were stealing stuff out of my car. And I had a kid. I was stressed out. The kid was in pain. It was already going to be a rough night. It was a rough day leading up to that. Had I had a handgun, I would have shot and killed these two guys over a child safety seat. And in the moment, I'd have felt justified. But in reality, that's why it's probably not good to start trading bullets in a parking lot. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Because I don't think that...
I think you should shoot him in the shin or something.
Right, and it's still, I'm discharging a firearm in a busy parking lot. Well, it's true though. I'm the one that would go to jail. You don't think those kids would go?
No.
It'd be a huge trial, unlawful force, disproportionate response. All of these things would have been charged on me because you can't shoot and kill two people over a child.
But
seat.
if you shot their legs, you're obviously not intending to kill them.
I missed the leg. It skips up. It hits an old lady loading up her groceries in the car.
You can fight that in court though.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, I'm glad I didn't have a gun because I would have killed two people, and I probably wouldn't have felt too good about it. Because when the dust settles, all they got was everything of worth that I own. They got my computer. They got my computer bag. I had a nice microphone that I had put in there that I wanted to bring in here. I had all of my work. I had a folder with all of these things that I had just printed out earlier in the day. Everything is gone.
Did you chase them at all, like in your car?
No, I had my kid. They rode off on BMX.
I know, but when they took off, you didn't want to get in your car and follow them?
No, I didn't. I didn't think I needed to. And this is the second part of the story. Because as I turn around, I see a Dallas police officer just sitting in his car while my car alarm is going off and these kids are robbing it.
Oh, my goodness. Did you walk with it? Hello?
This dollar store is attached to like a Lifetime Fitness.
Yeah.
And the cop was sitting out in front of the Lifetime Fitness. Old perv, probably watching chicks come and go. I don't know what the hell he was doing. So instead of chasing them, I saw the cop, and a cop was probably about 50 yards away. So I ran over to him. I'm waving him down, and I get like, 3/4 of the way to him before he finally goes, "Oh, what's up?" And he rolls up on me. I'm like, "I'm calling you to come here. I'm a citizen in distress. You're sitting there and you're not doing anything." And I said to him, "Look, my car just got broken into." And you know what he said to me? "I heard the car alarm."
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good.
I heard the car alarm. He heard the car alarm, and he didn't do anything. He didn't investigate. He didn't get in his car. He was sitting in his car. He didn't just cruise the parking lot. He didn't do anything. He heard the car alarm, though. And I go, it's those kids on BMX bikes. And by this point, there's a Fuzzy's Tacos on the other end. By this point, they were all the way over by the Fuzzy's Tacos, and they had stopped because they saw that I wasn't chasing them.
You saw them over there sitting there?
Yeah, they stopped.
Oh, my goodness.
They stopped like they were going to stop in for a taco. And I'm like, hey, that's them right there. So here's what the cop does. He goes, all right. So he starts rolling through the parking lot at like 5 miles an hour, right? And I can see the kids. The kids now see the cop coming. Not kids. They were guys. They see the cop coming, so they hop on their bikes and they book. So here's what the cop does. Whoop, puts the lights on, rolls up to the Fuzzies, and then just turns around and comes back to me. Didn't bother chasing them. Didn't bother doing anything. Didn't bother doing anything, Dallas Police Department. Nothing. Yeah, I heard the car alarm. And then I said it was those kids on BMX bikes. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, I saw them. He saw the kids on BMX bikes. He heard the car alarm, and he did nothing. He did nothing. I'm a citizen in distress. You know what he did? He chuckled. That was what really bugged me. Mm-hmm. He chuckled. He said, well, what did they get? I go, I got my laptop. I go, they got everything. They got everything that is important to me. All of my work, everything is gone. And he went, oh, they probably ain't going to get that back. And I go, wow. Well, can I fill out a police report? And this is where it got really weird. I go, I need to fill out a police report. I need to do something. He goes, well, what if we just take an incident report? And, here's what you can do. You can go down to the police department and you can fill out a police report. I'm like, no. You're the cop on the scene. I'm reporting this to you. How about you do the paperwork? How about you and me right now? We do this. Well, I could take your name and we could take an incident report. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to go down to the police department, and you're going to sit there for 2 hours, and nobody's going to do anything for you. And then you're going to see someone for like 3 minutes, and they're going to take the exact same information that you gave me. So, unless, is it insured? Do you need it for insurance reasons? I'm like, no, it's not insured. Well, look, you're not going to get it back. Well, I'm just telling you like it is. You're not going to get it back. It's gone forever.
Good job.
I'm like,
See, now hold on. I want to say something.
and I
right
didn't
now.
get his name. I didn't get his name or his badge number because I had a kid who at this point was screaming, and I'm dealing with this guy. And it was only after I left, and I was like, I didn't get that dude's name. I didn't get his name, his badge number. I didn't even get the number on the car. I wasn't thinking like that. I was just so upset that my computers were gone, that everything was gone.
I want to go on record right now, Jimmy. I think you're obviously at the show today. Remember the whole Trayvon thing we talked about?
Right.
Let me just tell you, had I been there would have been a chase on happening, okay? I would have been there and you're dogging me out about the whole Trayvon, but I would have been doing the things you're bitching about. I would have been doing. I would have been in pursuit.
Except you see,
I would have been on those
except
kids.
You see, Trayvon didn't do anything wrong. See, Trayvon didn't break into a car.
But
and steal anything.
my mentality, the way I am,
Right.
I would have been in pursuit for your stuff to justify
But
what
you
happened
do
to
see
you
the
because you were a
difference.
victim.
Right, I was a victim, and there was obviously a crime that was perpetrated against me. So that means somebody like George Zimmerman should have gotten involved.
Let me tell you something furthermore. I would have spotted those guys, been watching those guys because I would have known those guys are possibly about to do something wrong.
Hell, you'd have had a mongoose in the back of your car. You'd have pulled that out, and you'd have hit the trails with them.
Yeah,
You'd have chased them down.
I would have chased. Me and Stephanie, that worked for me. She got her car broken into LA Fitness up here, and dude, me and I will say this: not all cops are bad. Me and those cops chased. They were there within seconds because there was a string of robberies. Dude, we chased this guy. He was using a credit card. This store, that store. We were in pursuit all over the place. This area, dude, for like 2 hours straight one morning when she got robbed. So and
Well, look, I know that not all cops are bad, but this is the second in 10 years run-ins with DPD that I've had where I was a victim or somebody else was a victim. The first time we were at O-Bar downtown, and I was with a girl, and her ex-boyfriend was there, and he was drunk, and he showed up, and he walked up to her, and he was trying to get her to come home with him, and she wouldn't go home. She's like, we're not together. So he grabbed her by the throat and shoved her up against the wall, right? We walk outside. He runs outside the bar. It was my friend was running the bar at the time, so the bouncers were chased him. They chased him out the door. The guy was like down at the end of the block, and there was a cop standing right there. And we said he just assaulted her. That guy right there just assaulted her, and the cop did nothing. Cop did nothing.
you know my problem with your whole
Dallas
story.
Police Department. Thanks, guys.
Here's what I'm worried. If I was in your shoes, I gotta be honest, dude. I would have looked around for the first responsible person, and this is gonna sound horrible, but my gut instinct would have been to take my kid and say, "Hold on to my kid for a minute," and take off those guys.
No. First of
Why
all,
was Jimmy chuckling a while ago? By the way, you were chuckling. What were you laughing about?
First of all, the kid is not at 100%. The kid is in a
I'm just telling you, my reactions would have been like, I don't know what I would have done if I was you. Maybe I wouldn't have done that, but I can't help but think that I would be like, "Can you watch my kid for a minute? I'll be right back."
I had to be a parent first. Whatever happened to me was secondary. The kid, and all the pain that the kid was in, still took priority. I had to sort of shelve any kind of freak out that I was having to stay in control, because if you freak out around a kid, that kid is going to freak out too, and the kid's already, in tears now because he doesn't know what's happening, and it was the worst experience that anyone could possibly have with a police officer. I just cannot.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. And, I used to know the chief of Dallas Police. That was a time, Brandon, in my life where I used to be able to pick up the phone and call the chief of the Dallas Police Department. Boy, oh boy, I wish that guy, Kunkel, I wish that guy was still in charge.
You know what's like the biggest shame, though, is that it's not a shock. I mean, just the other day, I was going into a 7-Eleven, and there was a cop who was getting into his car, and by no means am I going to take shots at people for being completely unhealthy and overweight. But if you're a cop, you should probably be ready to go at any moment.
Yeah, how do the cops always catch the bad guys when they're like 20-year-old kid?
Well, no, they don't catch them. My entire childhood was based on
But on
outrunning the cops.
On the show, on the show, Cops, they always catch them.
Yeah, they can't. That footage goes
those
away.
cops are always buff. The cops on the show Cops, they always look buff and all that stuff. But in reality, it's like 285-pound, 5'9" guy. Like, for instance, have you ever seen that show? This takes me back to my childhood. There was a huge push back in the 80s to get Chicago police officers in shape, and they tried to make weight requirements. Like, you had to be a certain, like just about any other job that requires
Like you
physical
should.
fitness. Yes. Well, but you can't do that because the unions got involved, and you can't make this 450-pound beat cop lose 150 pounds. That's unconscious. So we still, to this day, have obese cops in the city of Chicago, and we have obese cops everywhere. But the best indication of this is, have you ever seen that show Mike and Molly
Yes.
on CBS?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the story on that? Originally, they were just supposed to be a blue collar family, and there was no real distinction about what the Mike, his job description, was going to be, and it was because of that push that happened in Chicago in the 80s, where they tried to get cops in shape, and the joke became that all Chicago cops were really fat, that they made that guy Mike a Chicago cop specifically because he's like 300 pounds, and that's sort of an inside joke. Cops need to be in shape, man.
Yeah, I was walking out of that 7-Eleven, and I saw him. It was an operation, him getting back into the car. And I said, that guy is going to be useless if he's called on right now.
What's he going to do in a fight? A big fat guy like that. He's going to fight for 10 seconds and then he's, you know, I mean, come on.
The guy was literally going to get winded giving somebody a ticket.
I hate that. I hate the big fat guys, too, that think they're tough. You know? It's like you're just a big fat out of shape guy. You're just big. You're a big blob. You ain't tough. I'll run around you for 30 seconds and you'll be sucking wind and I'll kick you in the head.
I'd like to be proud of our cops, you know, to be like, man, don't mess with that guy. He's going to make sure that, and like, those guys that jacked your car have probably done it many times and run from cops right in the very same parking lot. Now, if there were people like, I remember, and I will never forget, there was this one time when I was in middle school, I was at a donut store, and there was a veterinarian who was just always talking crap to us, and I ended up smearing donut all over his windows, and I got into another one of these chases. Now, every single experience I have in this, I always outrun the cops. Well, what I didn't know about this veterinarian is that he's an ex-track athlete, and boy, did he catch me quick. I mean, that was the learning moment. I'm not doing this
your
anymore.
ass?
Get it out, mister. I'm sorry, mister.
Has everyone here, you've been chased? Have you been chasing?
Oh, God, yeah, of course.
On your bicycle? You ever had the bicycle chases back when you were a kid?
Nah. We, never been chased on a bicycle. We used to get chased regularly with snowballs. We used to bomb cars with snowballs, and just that's what you would do. You would hit cars with snowballs, and then you would get chased. Yeah, and then like the cops would find an area, enough people would call and say, "There's a bunch of kids on the overpass throwing snowballs." And the cops would come in the area, and you'd run from the cops all night. It was fun, and you'd throw snowballs at the cops because they couldn't catch you. They weren't going to catch you. We were kids. You know what it was? It was like the Viet Cong, baby. That was our neighborhood. We knew where to go. We knew the backyards that had the holes in the fences. We knew where to run.
My best chase of all time was when it snowed in Dallas, Texas. I was 16 or 17. And I was on a go-kart getting chased by the cops, and they couldn't catch me. I had a Dingo, which is like an Odyssey go-kart, and me and my buddy were like hauling out. They couldn't catch us. We were jumping through yards and shit, and they were, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, if you know the neighborhood and you can get through the yards and all that stuff, there is no way that they will catch you. And now, if you're on the road, you know, if you're driving on like highways and stuff, forget about it. They'll put a helicopter in the air. You get caught 100% of the time these days.
It's so high tech nowadays.
Nobody can outrun the cops in a car chase anymore. Nobody. Keith Olbermann famously had this daily segment on his show where it was the car chase of the day, and they always had a score: cops 99, bad guys 0. And it was always like, because they always got caught. Nobody ever got away with it.
I'll tell you one way to get away. My buddy jumped in one of those little drainage ditch tunnels. It's it's nighttime, not middle, like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. He goes at least a mile in a tunnel, dude. Can you imagine all the nasty stuff down there, dude? You know what I mean? Dark and nasty snakes.
We used to play in the sewers. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Go down there. Nasty. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come on back. There's more of PMS right around the corner on thebarlive.com. It's thebarlive.com PMS, the anchor show every day, noon to 2, right here on thebarlive.com. Don't forget, hit us up on Facebook, the brand new Facebook page, and check out the YouTube videos. Very popular, the YouTube videos, Jimmy Ryan. You see that we went over 200,000 in 3 weeks. 200,000 on the YouTube channel. Very excited. Thank you to all the listeners of this show daily. And don't forget, it's Wednesday, so that means we've got a couple of special shows coming on at 4 o'clock today. Don't forget, it is YNR Radio. You're Never Right Radio with those kids. They're youngsters. They're really good, though. I like them. Discovered them myself. At least that's what I'm telling people, Jimmy. You understand? That's how I, garner credit for things that I really didn't do. I just tell people I did it, and they believe me because I got the microphone. It works like that. Also, Big Dave and Company is what we'll call it. Stop all fights. Yeah, side people don't like that they're not in the title. It's like when Gilligan's Island. You remember when Gilligan's Island? You don't know Gilligan's Island. You're like, what, 25? What do you know? You don't know? Philip, you remember Gilligan's Island?
I remember Gilligan's Island.
Remember how the first couple of seasons, it was the title theme would go, The Professor and Mary Ann, and then for some reason they changed it to And the Rest.
Yes.
And it's like the Professor and Mary Ann got screwed. Yeah, that's kind of like what's going on with this show, Big Dave. It's like Big Dave and 2 other people that used to have their name in the title, but for some reason they don't have it anymore. So they're very upset. You want to check that out. That's tonight live, streaming 7 to 9. And don't forget the podcast on iTunes. Find that at the website as well, thebarlive.com. And keep hitting that YouTube channel. That's really important. Thank you, folks. We appreciate it. All right, we've got some special guests in studio today. This is not the official start of the new MMA show that we're going to be doing here on thebarlive.com, but it's a good way to start because we've got probably the preeminent fight team in all of Dallas-Fort Worth. We've got guys from Team Takedown. They've got a huge event going on this weekend out there at this is at the gym, right? At the gym in Arlington. Here's what you need to know. ExtremeKnockout.com. That's with an X. XTREME. Knockout.com. You can get your tickets for the big event on Saturday night out there at the gym. But they got some bigwigs coming in. Actually, they got one bigwig coming in. One of them is here all the time, and you should really start to recognize this guy because he is going to be, in my opinion, one of the top fighters for years to come in the UFC, whether we're talking about the 170-pound division or just in general. Johnny Hendricks is a Team Takedown member. You probably have heard of him. He's fighting GSP as soon as GSP can get healthy. Not exactly sure. We don't have a date on that, right? Nobody knows. Probably we're looking months and months away. What's up? Well, we'll get into this. Phil, we should get you on a microphone, too. We got a lot of questions about this. But we are joined by a couple of Team Takedown members. We've got Chaz Skelly and Chaz right here at 145, and Chris Feist. He's a welterweight. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chaz. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm a bit of an MMA queer. I'm a big fan of you guys. I'm a big fan of Team Takedown. I think that you guys are really, I've been so pissed because I moved here to Texas 10 years ago, and one of the things that I'd always been, told about Texans was that, you don't mess with a Texas man. Texas dudes are supposed to be tough. They're supposed to be badass. And for the last 10 years, I don't feel that Texas, and certainly North Texas, has been represented all that well in the world of mixed martial arts. I mean, sure, we had Travis Lutter won the Ultimate Fighter. That was great. Guy Mesger. We've got Guy hanging around down here. There's a couple of gyms around town, but you guys at Team Takedown have really brought it to the next level, and you've really put Dallas-Fort Worth fighting on the map.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We've put a lot.
Let's get you right on there, Philip. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the goal from the beginning. We went and got the best of the best, and it's really after 4 years, it's really starting to pay off. And look at Johnny Hendricks, Jake Rochelt, Shane Roller. We made a pretty big impact very, very quickly. Very quickly,
yeah. It's and it seems to me as a guy who's more fascinated with the business end of mixed martial arts, because my fighting days are behind me. I'm more interested in your business model. I think it's that gym that you have out there in Arlington is fantastic. You put on the big XKO shows. You may have seen them on TV. Is it still airing on TV?
Yes, the Bussies are in charge of all that, and they've done a fantastic job. They have allowed us to come in there and share the gym with them and really open the doors, which really helped us move everybody from Vegas to here.
Yeah.
And it's just been a wonderful partnership. They are fantastic to work with. and they started XKO and have taken it to the next level. And we're just happy that we're even being part of them.
What was the reasoning? What was the thought behind moving from Vegas, which is the epicenter for the mixed martial arts world, and bringing us here to North? I mean, a lot of your fighters are Oklahoma State guys and fighters from here and from that area. Was that a big reason that the team itself was just more comfortable?
Everything with Team Takedown, we were, Ted Earhart started us, and his two partners, Tim McBride and Doug Earhart. That's where you get the TTD. They everything we do and every business they own is about family. And so when we bring a fighter in, it's not just to bring just a guy in because he's good. He's got to be able to mesh with our family and with our kids, and we do everything together. We do a lot of functions together. And so it truly is a family atmosphere. The plan was, and what we did was get them to Vegas, get their core underneath them, and then after we felt that was strong enough, we moved everybody here so we could spend more time with each other and really have more of a pulse on what's going on from the day-to-day activities of these guys.
And you're putting on some of the best regional MMA shows that you can find. I hope that's not. We're talking regional at this point, right? With the XKO circuit and all that.
Oh yeah. The Bussies have done a wonderful job. They're finding up and comers that are really good fighters, and then they allowed us to kind of help out with this one a little bit. But really, all the credit goes to them on XKO. They're just amazing to work with.
And by the way, big fight Saturday night out there at the gym. Again, for tickets, extremeknockout.com. You can also purchase the VIP tickets, which will land you. You're bringing in some big fish. You got Randy Couture. He's going to be in town. Randy's going to be doing a meet and greet on Friday. Now, this comes with any VIP ticket, right? You get a chance to meet Randy the Natural.
Yeah, it's a really neat deal. If you go to extremeknockout.com, you buy a VIP ticket, which is anywhere in the first 4 rows. They go from $150 on the first row, back $25 to $75 a ticket. There's still some tickets available. You can go Friday night from 7 to 9, pick up your ticket, and then have a meet and greet with Randy. Everybody will have the opportunity to get in the cage with him, shake his hand, take a picture. Johnny Hendricks will be there as well. And so it should be a really neat event.
That's going to be Friday from 7 to 9 out there for the Randy Couture meet and greet. And then Johnny Big Rig Hendricks, he'll be out there all day Saturday, right?
Saturday, he'll get out there at 6 when the doors open and be doing autographs from 6 to 8 till the fights start.
Let me just, we won't spend a lot of time on Johnny, but what does he do now? He's kind of in limbo, right? I mean, he's just sitting waiting for George St. Pierre to get well.
Well, with the UFC, you never know. Dana White said after the fight he would like to see GSP, but you just never know with the UFC. We got the big Ellenberg-Campman fight coming up. Yeah. And GSP still got to fight Condit in November if he comes back from his knee. There's so many variables and ifs.
Well, I'm really hoping for Johnny and GSP.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to really see, I mean, GSP's a fantastic wrestler, probably the best 170-pound wrestler without any sort of NCAA or American-style training.
There's no question.
But he's already Olympic caliber. He's at least that's what I heard, right? Isn't he training with the Canadian Olympic team?
Yeah, GSP is amazing in all aspects.
Yeah, yeah, but I got to tell you, it's time for him to go. I'm sorry, he's held the belt for too long, and a guy like Johnny, I would love to see a guy with Johnny's skills and his wrestling ability. And where did the big knockout power come from all of a sudden from Johnny Hendricks? I mean, we know that he's a great wrestler.
Johnny's just an amazing freak of nature. His hand-eye coordination is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. From the first day I ever saw him to where it's at now, it's just crazy. And whatever Johnny does, Johnny's good at. He's just one of those guys, and he put a lot of work into it with his hands, a lot of work, and it's really starting to pay off now. It's
very, very exciting, all the things going on with Team Takedown and certainly North Dallas MMA. Let's talk to Chaz. Chaz Skelly, you fight at 145 pounds. How long have you been fighting?
I've been fighting for about 2.5, 3 years now.
Are you fighting on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have any information here on this, so let's work this through. Who you fighting?
A guy named Jeremy Myers. His last fight was on Bellator, I believe.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So you're at 145. What are you a wrestler?
Yeah. I started off as a wrestler. I've wrestled since I was 5 years old through college, and here I am now.
Is that the base? Is that pretty much the base that we're looking at takedown? Like some camps, their base will be jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or striking. We're takedown. We're a wrestling base, right?
Yeah, we're all everybody on the team right now. We're originally wrestlers, but with MMA, you have to convert. You have to convert over to being a striker, and you have to convert over to being a good on the ground all around. Whether it's jiu-jitsu, top control, and then eventually developing a guard game and a game to at least get back up to your feet. And that's where Mark Lehman's a wizard. He's
you've got
trained
great
some of the
coaches
best.
out there too. I mean, it's like this isn't just local guy. I mean, you've really brought a top-notch organization here. Now, what's your wrestling cred? College wrestling, high school wrestling?
I wrestled. I wrestled all through high school and college. So, I won a state championship in high school.
Here in Texas, or
here in Texas. I'm from Azle, Texas. That's where I went to high school, and then I All-American in college once. And
where'd you go to college?
Well, I skipped around a little bit. I transferred about
Didn't we all?
about 12 times. No, I
Not that much.
no,
like the
really
military brand of college wrestlers.
really about 4 times. I've wrestled as Missouri Baptist University, Oklahoma City University, OU, and Adams State University.
So you got your wrestling base, and how long have you been fighting professionally?
About 2.5 years, I think.
And what's your record?
7-0. Be 8-0 after June 2nd.
After Saturday night. All right, so you come in with this pedigree, this wrestling pedigree. You've got a state championship here in Texas. You're an All-American in college. What's the first thing that when you decide that you're going to start the mix in the mixed martial arts, what's the first thing do you work on? You work on your striking first, or do you get with a good jiu-jitsu coach? And is it really important to train jiu-jitsu anymore, or is it more important to train jiu-jitsu defense?
For me, the first thing was really developing a defensive game to keep people up. Wrestlers naturally have a heavy base, so when I came in, I had a heavy base and good takedowns. I really have been pretty lucky with the whole transition to jiu-jitsu because I love it, and I didn't really get submitted too much in the beginning. I got caught in normal things, but I really, really worked hard on developing my submission defense first, and then my top game. And then I went into my guard game and things. I'm not really ever on my back, but now I'm really comfortable on my back.
It's a good thing about being a wrestler.
Yeah.
It's rare. You've always got the leverage. You always got the position.
Yeah, but I mean, when you first start MMA, everybody knows that the first thing you got to do is go to all the local bars and tell everybody you're a fighter.
Wear your affliction shirt.
Try and get laid as much as possible.
Yeah.
Wear your affliction shirt, drink Tabasco sauce out of the bottle, and you're a man.
Now, how's your striking? Tell me what's your boxing, Thai boxing. What do you like there in the striking department?
I generally cover up and hope they punch themselves out.
And then just throw bombs.
No, I'm just playing. I love boxing. I'm a tall, lanky 45-pounder, so I like to get my jab out there and work my boxing. I'm not too big on kicks, so I do them.
So traditional American style,
boxing.
Footwork and all that.
Yeah, I love boxing.
All right, Chaz, and again, who are you fighting on Saturday night?
Jeremy Myers.
Yeah, who cares about him?
Yeah.
Right? Where's he from?
Forget him. I don't know. Austin.
Yeah, who
I
cares?
think he
Why are we
trains
even
up-
wasting time
Yeah.
talking about Jeremy Myers? It's Chaz Skelly's hand that's going to be raised. All right, let's talk to Chris Feist. You're a welterweight, 170. Are you fighting as well on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
And a wrestling base as well?
Yes, sir. From seven years on. So.
What's your pedigree? Where you from? Where'd you wrestle? What'd you do?
Idaho state champions. Then from there I moved.
Jesus,
on.
Idaho? See, now that's a state that I imagine some big dudes wrestling cows their whole life, or like mountain
Mostly
sheep or
trees,
something.
but
Yeah,
a
goats.
lot of trees. No goats.
Big, strong Idaho mountain kids.
Yes, sir. Yep. Jake and Jared Rochalt both and I are all from the same hometown, and
Oh, really?
yes, sir.
Isn't that weird? How did you guys all get started together? High school wrestling, that kind of thing?
Youth club wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
When I started at 7 years old, which was first grade, both the Rochalt boys were already involved, and we started wrestling, and we've been friends ever since. So.
Now, you're fighting at 170. You look bigger than 170. Do you have to cut a lot?
Yes, sir.
What do you cut down to? What do you drop, like 15, 20?
Yeah, I like to walk around about 185, 190, and go from there.
What are those cuts like? How much weight can you lose in a 24-hour period? I mean, if you need to, if it's the night before the weigh-in, and it's Thursday night, and you got to drop. I mean, I've heard of guys the night before the weigh-in being 10, 15 pounds out and not being that worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of individual. I mean, if I had to lose 15 pounds, I'm sure I could, but it's something I'll never do or be in position where I have to do that.
It's got to kill you in the fight, right? I mean, there's got to be some kind of blowback.
It
from
can't help you.
Yeah.
That's for dang sure. And
Yeah.
if you're cutting a pound or 20 pounds, it's horrible either way you look at it, but there's definitely a science to it. And
Travis Luter is a buddy of mine, and I'll never forget when he fought Anderson Silva, and
he should have finished that fight.
Nobody will
dude,
forget
I
that.
thought he was gonna win that. I swear to God, that was up until Chael Sonnen. He was the only guy who had full mount and was raining down blows on the indestructible Anderson Silva, and then he just gassed from the cut.
Well, he had the armbar, if you remember, and
Yeah.
bad hand positioning, which happens in a fight sometimes, and Anderson was able to
I mean, he was
counter
so,
perfectly.
He was so close to winning that fight. But
I was yelling at the TV.
yeah, me too. Yeah, it was. I think if I remember correctly, I think it was like was it the night before the Super Bowl? Was that actually I may have the wrong fight. Anyway, but when he came into that fight, when he was walking in, and I know Travis for years, and he used to do my show at CBS all the time, and I mean he was a regular. He came in, he looked like a concentration camp victim. I mean, he had his head all shaved. He was gaunt. He was gray. I was like, holy crap, this guy, if he doesn't finish this in the first 3 minutes of the first round, he's not going to have anything. I mean, and that's an example of what a difficult cut will take from you.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the UFC sometimes where you guys get in there and they just cut the weight wrong, and it shows. So there's definitely a science to it, and can't give away our secrets, but we're getting it down pretty good, and sucks to be cutting a lot of weight.
Yeah, it does. All right, Chris Feist, 170-pound welterweight with Team Takedown. You're fighting Saturday night?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who are you taking on?
Josh Strahan, and he's a Texas kid, and that's about all I know.
Is he a newcomer or?
I think he's got 3 professional fights, so we're kind of at the same stage in the professional career.
What's your record?
Is 3-0.
3-0.
I just started fighting a little over a year ago professionally. Been training a few more years than that with Team Takedown out in Las Vegas. And when we moved out here, I took my first fight. And
now, not for nothing, guys, but I love Vegas. What was it like making the transition for you're a kid from Azle, so you love Texas. You got Texas in your blood.
Right.
But you make that transition from Las Vegas, and now suddenly you're in Arlington. I mean, sure you got Six Flags, but I mean, it ain't Vegas, right?
yeah,
it's gotta be better as far as distractions, though. I would think.
Yeah, for sure. Vegas had plenty of distractions, and I mean, anything you wanted. The word no in Vegas does not exist, so at any time of the day, which I'm not a big party or a night scene guy like that, so I didn't get involved in that. Don't gamble.
Now, I know this seems to be split right down the middle. I know a lot of fighters, and there are 2 camps. There are either the guys that, will drink an entire bottle of bourbon and then smash car windows in the parking lot, and then there are the guys whose body is a temple, and they don't do anything. Tell me about the makeup of Team Takedown. You got a partier? You got somebody who's I'm not talking about doing vandalism and stuff like that, but is there a group of guys that maybe like to go out and tip a few and have some fun and get rowdy like young strapping men will do, and then there's another camp of guys that are all just like you said, pretty pure. I'm getting at you, Chaz. Chaz, are you a lush? That's what I'm getting at. Are you a partier?
I like to party.
Yeah.
I'll drive with the
I'm
windows
Chaz
down,
Skelly,
the
and I like to
air conditioner
party.
cranked up. Yeah.
All right, Saturday night, it's XKO Saturday out there at the gym in Arlington. For tickets, extremeknockout.com. That's extreme spelled XTREME, extremeknockout.com. You can get the VIP tickets, too, where Randy Couture will be out there, and you can meet and greet, get a picture with Natural. I mean, come on, he's a Hall of Famer. He's like the Babe Ruth of MMA. Do you guys get a kick out of this? Because as fans, you're pros, but you're also fans, and you've been watching this long enough now where we've seen these guys develop, and there are guys in MMA that strike me, if I were to run into them, the exact same way if I ran into a Michael Jordan or something. Do you have that, or who are your idols? Who are the people you look up to? Is there anybody that you really admire? And
to tell you the truth, man, I'm not really a big I'm not the type
star
of person.
banger.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but as a professional, you've got to have some admiration.
I
and
do.
Somebody that
There are. I like to watch people who are coming up and doing big things. Now like the people I enjoy watching. Chuck Liddell. I've always been a fan of Chuck Liddell actually from the beginning.
I met Chuck in the L.A. airport in a Chili's too, and this guy, everybody, you'd think you'd be totally afraid of him. Jimmy, I know you had a bad run-in with Chuck. You had a bad run-in with drunk Chuck. Chuck likes to party.
Yeah.
He was the most gracious dude. I mean, people were walking up to him taking pictures, and it was nice to see. You know, a guy that has this scary reputation, which is good for the sport, that these guys are out there, you know, shaking hands and everything. But he was a nice. So you like Chuck?
Yeah, you know, as far as idols go, you know, Dan Henderson. You know, you can't not like Dan Henderson. He's a freaking beast. Chuck Liddell, you know, love him, and I like Nick Diaz a lot too. I
love
style.
Nick Diaz. I love the Diaz boys. I love that whole Cesar Gracie camp.
Yeah, and so you know those are three of the guys that I look towards. But you know, I'm more of a I like watching the guys that are just like Jim Hedis. I mean, that guy's
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
he's a freak. I mean, he beat up Nam Fan. The last one just took him down and beat him senseless. And you know, it's just people like that are coming up and doing big things. Just being young guys, just coming. And you know, like John Jones. I was a big fan of John Jones just because of the way he was young and new and exciting. And
Boy, that guy looks. You know, what do you say about that guy? I don't know anybody in that. I don't know anybody in that weight class.
Killer.
That I would put up against him. Although I think I saw somebody recently who I went, okay, I'd like to see that guy fight Jones, but I don't know who it was. Getting back to you said
King Mo.
No, really? Get out of it, King Mo. You'd like to see King Mo and John Jones? I think King Mo would get KO'd so quick.
Or John Jones could spend the whole time on his back getting beat up. So
That's true. We haven't really seen Jones wrestling though. He's supposed to be a good wrestler.
that's right. Or from off his back because he's
I don't
skilled
know.
enough to stay off his back. But
I feel about John Jones right now the way that I felt about GSP about 3 years ago. It didn't look like anyone, but that was of course before Johnny came on the scene. Now I'm all about Johnny, so don't get me wrong there. I'm a hometown guy. But I also felt that way for a period of time about Brock Lesnar, and we saw what happened there. You know? So you know anybody is beatable.
oh, everyone's beatable.
Now I want to go back to the Cesar Gracie team thing because you said that you liked Nick Diaz. Like Nick and Nate Diaz, they have, and this goes to what I was saying about your team. I was trying to say, are there two different camps? Are there guys who go one way and guys who go the other? Because when you look at that camp, you've got the Diaz brothers, and not necessarily Nate. I don't think you should lump Nate in with Nick just because Nick has gotten into some trouble. But they are brothers, and, you know, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you got to think. You got those two guys, but then you also got guys like Shields and Gilbert Melendez who are like the most respectful and kind. And so it's like there's two different camps, yet in training, they're all one big family.
you know, personalities. Everybody. It's just like anything else, man. You know, I mean, we're fighters. We all fight, but everybody looks at it differently. The Diaz brothers do have the same mentality. They're, you know, I would say they're probably a little bit socially awkward, and they, you know, they harness their energy in a different way than other people do.
Yeah, I have diagnosed them. My SNAP psychology is that they lack confidence, which is why they're a bit awkward when speaking with people. They probably feel they came from the wrong side of the tracks. They see they're in this high-end world now with fancy cars and rich people, and they probably feel a little bit insecure about that. Now, that doesn't say that it translates to their fighting, because it obviously doesn't. But I think that's the reason that they come across so socially awkward.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could have something to do with it. You know, it could be just that they think that everybody looks at them like they're a bad guy. Because I mean, the way they grew up, I feel like, you know, they got in scraps a lot and got picked on a little bit probably, and so they just kind of. I mean, I don't think they like to deal with people too much.
I love watching those guys fight. I love the way Nick Diaz fights. I love that slap style that he's got. I mean, it's got to be real irritating, but it looks good and it's obviously effective. Chaz Skelly and Chris Feist are with us. Chris Feist, now at 170 pounds, I'm going to ask both of you guys this. Out on horizon, maybe not your next fight or your next fight, but, you know, 5 or 6 fights down the road when you're ready. Who do you like at 170? I mean, is there somebody that you really look at that's maybe a name that you would say? I'm not asking you to call anybody out. That's not what we're doing here. But this is more about respect. Someone that, you know, you would love to step into the octagon with and maybe scrap with.
Man, I suppose just any of those elite fighters that are up in that level, because once you're fighting like a John Fitch or a GSP or a BJ Penn or, you know, whoever it's going to be when I'm up.
Yeah, BJ's making rumors he's coming back.
Yeah, I just saw that the other day.
Yeah.
But so I'd like to fight anyone that is a star now. I'd like to fight because that means you're making it in the sport. If I have the pleasure to fight a GSP or a Dan Hardy or somebody that's been in the spotlight.
Well, how great did Hardy look last Saturday night?
He looked awesome.
Yeah, he sure did.
Dan, I think he's back. I think he's going to be tough for a lot of people to fight. And And like I think I caught a statement of his where he said he was brought up really fast, and I think that's right. You know, he knocked some people out, and the timing and the momentum was behind him. And next thing you know, he's fighting GSP, and he took that time off. It was about a year. And
Who was it? Was it Ludwig? Is that who we fought? Was
yeah,
it
that's
Dwayne
who
Ludwig?
he fought.
Yeah, I remember
last
how
weekend.
I love the thing that I love about MMA, and what I think that people I've been fighting for this for a long time. I don't know if you guys know this. I had the first nationally syndicated terrestrial MMA radio show about 6 years ago when nobody in radio wanted to talk about it. Now they're popping up all over the place, and I'm doing podcasting from Brandon's basement. You know, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, so I've been on this a long time, and one of the things that I've always had an uphill battle with, even with sponsors, or particularly with sponsors, is that people have the wrong idea about what this sport is. This is not Tank Abbott in his pit fighting anymore. You know,
No,
this is. I always make this argument to people. I say, look, you know, we send a guy to the Olympics and he wins a gold medal in judo, and we put him on Mount Rushmore. We send a guy to the Olympics, he wins a medal in wrestling, and you know, we're giving him a Congressional Medal of Honor. We send a guy to the Olympics and he wins a gold medal in boxing, he's on a Wheaties box. But somebody who is world class in all three of those things are suddenly marginalized. They're suddenly, oh, there's something wrong with that guy. People don't understand the work, the effort, and more importantly, the inner discipline that it takes to do this at a professional level. I mean, do you ever get upset at people like that?
Yeah, a little bit. When people watch the UFC or watch any fighting, all they see is that short fragment of time. And that's honestly 5% of what goes into that, putting on that fight. No one sees the time in the gym, the running, the puking, the bleeding, everything that goes into leading up to that short minute, short 15 minutes that you guys only get to see. That's the easy part for us.
And people who don't know what they're watching, they just think they're seeing two guys flailing like they're at a dance club on a floor, you know, with bouncers. No, I mean, when you get a really technical striker and a really technical BJJ guy or a really world elite level grappler, I mean, it's like ballet. I mean, especially when you get two really high level BJJ guys and they are rolling around. I mean, it is ballet.
It's like art. You're talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the form of art, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And what a lot of people don't realize is every one of us associated with Team Takedown is college educated, college degrees. And I don't know exact stats, but I would be willing to bet almost 50% of UFC fighters are college educated.
It's funny. Jimmy, I gave that stat last week. This is one of the things that I used to, when I was trying to sell the sport to people, to advertisers and all that stuff. This is a cold hard fact from 3 years ago. I don't know if it still holds up, but 70% of all UFC fighters under contract had college degrees.
I would believe that wholeheartedly. You got Rich Franklin, retired school teacher.
Do you know what it is for the NBA? 15.
Yeah.
15% of NBA players actually have their college degrees. 70%, and people are like, well, that can't be. And then you have to explain to them, well, no, it can be, because most of these guys got college educations on wrestling scholarships, and they actually focused on graduating because there wasn't an NFL for them to go to. There wasn't an NBA. So, I mean, you guys are not thugs. I hate all of the misperceptions that the MMA fighters have to put up with. It's killing me. You know, I'm trying to relaunch my radio show, and I still have from advertisers this whole, it's thuggery. It's getting better. It's getting a lot better. There's a lot of people out there.
That is that stigma that hangs over the sport, and hopefully, with the right ambassadors and out in the front of the sport, that it's going to change.
Chaz Skelly, 145 pounds. Let me ask you the same thing I asked Chris. Now, what are we? 145. Who's out there? Who's out there? And again, we're not calling anybody out. We're not trying to get some message board material. No, just, is there anybody out there at 145 that you respect, that you would say, man, I would love to get in the ring with him. I'd love to test myself against that guy.
I mean, this might sound a little cliche. I mean, just because, Feist already said kind of the same thing. But to be honest, anybody that's going to get me to the next level, I'm willing to fight anybody. I'm more than willing to fight anybody. And anybody that's going to get me into the UFC, I'm knocking on the door already. So, I just want to get in there and then be able to show people what I got. But there is one person that I've kind of looked at since about a year ago. Diego Brandao won the Ultimate Fighter. He actually just lost.
Start easy, why don't you?
Just lost to Darren Elkins this last week, and I just imagine that being me in there because I tried out for the Ultimate Fighter the same season he won it. They didn't pick me. I got through the interviews and they didn't pick me, and just watching that show, and then I want to fight him, and I want Dana White to have a big cardboard check after I beat him for me, and I want a trophy.
And you want a Scion or whatever piece of car they're giving away now.
Whatever car they gave
Whatever it
away,
is.
and I want them to come in the ring and say, you're the next Ultimate Fighter, Like,
Yeah, so that's the dream. I mean, that
Yeah.
really is what a great. The Ultimate Fighter television show has done. First of all, the UFC. I've had run-ins with Dana over the years. Dana can be a difficult guy. I mean, he's always willing to do an interview. Not so much anymore, but 3 or 4 years ago when I was doing my radio show, he was always available for an interview. And he's a good guy. If you call him out on something, he'll fight with you on the air, and he'll be up. But he'll always call you afterwards. And he's a stand-up guy. But I have to give him so much credit for this idea of the Ultimate Fighter television show, because when that show started, it was a crapshoot. It was a gamble. It was, let's see if anyone will watch this. But what it has done is not only has it provided weekly fights for the MMA fan, but it's also created this farm system for the UFC that just cannot be denied. And they're not just regular farms. These are all high-profile farm system guys, because fans have all watched them and gotten to know them, and now they root for them. What an amazing launching pad they created there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, it's a great way for, up-and-comers like myself to get into, and it's a perfect avenue to get into the UFC. And if you go in there and put on good performances, fight your heart out, win or lose, they're going to give you a look. And if you do it in the cage, then...
And they also seem to be very good about allowing, and you guys may know the inside better than I do on this, but they seem to be very good at letting the individual fighter promote themselves, whether it's through their Twitter accounts and that kind of thing. Which I don't know if that's their Twitter account that they gave to them or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it seems like they allow the fighters to be themselves, and they allow these personalities to come out. And the bottom line is, you guys can only make so much money fighting. Your money is going to come from your personality, from people liking you, from people wanting to slap their name on the back of you, from giving good interviews, and that kind of thing. It's how is, if you don't mind my asking, and tell me to shut up, that's fine. But how is the money for and I don't want specific dollar amounts, but for a guy guys at your level knocking at the door? I mean, can you live, or is it important to get involved with a team who is going to then provide you with certain expenses to train? How does that work, I guess, is my question. What does Team Takedown provide for you?
I'll tell you from personal experience, it's hard, man. Like when you're first starting out and doing things, it's hard. The one thing that Team Takedown provides for you that's the best thing is support and insurance.
Insurance.
You know what I'm saying?
Boy, is
like
that the big
insurance,
one, huh?
because for me, a year ago or a year and a half, I haven't fought in over a year and a half because I was knocking on the door. I was doing really well. My last fight was actually against Daniel Pineda at Bellator, and I got my foot broken in the fight, tore the tendons, broke my foot, was out for a good year because of that. I mean, I had fought 7 times in a little over a year,
Wow.
about a year and a month or something, and that's how I started my MMA career. Just fought 7 times in a little over a year just to make it by, I mean, yeah, it was a good year. I mean, I wasn't doing too bad, honestly, but I was squeaking by on just what I could, living at my parents' house and just trying to make it, training every day and having a part-time job in sales. And it sucks. Yeah, it's hard.
But it's your dream. You're young. You're working hard for it. And, I mean, if not now, when? When you're 40? When are you supposed to struggle like this? Now's the time to do it.
Exactly. And that's, I've been lucky enough to have people that have supported me my whole life with wrestling. And then when I was done with wrestling, just chasing this dream, and it got to a point to where I couldn't do it anymore because I was hurt and I was out, and I wasn't making any money fighting, and working part-time just wasn't doing it. So I was basically to the point of quitting MMA and just getting a job. And I started training with these guys a little bit, and then we meshed real well. And they asked me if I'd be willing to become part of the team, and it was just like a godsend for me, because I mean, shit, I was pretty much done if I didn't, because it's.
Well, you hooked in with a good team.
Oh,
You
yeah,
hooked in with a good, high-profile team. They got great coaches out there, great facilities. Now, of course, we're talking about Team Takedown. ExtremeKnockout.com. That's where you go to get tickets. Saturday night, big fights out there at the gym in Arlington. We've got Chaz Skelly with us and Chris Feist. Both are fighting on the card. Chaz is fighting at 145. Chris Feist, welterweight, 170. Now, Who else? Let's talk about the card. Who else is fighting? Is Jake fighting this week?
Yeah, Jake Rochalt's headlining the event. I forget his opponent, but
Matt
he's
Thompson.
Matt Thompson. He's 6'5", real rangy. He's fought a lot of tough guys. I think he's
29. He's been around a long.
fought
He's a veteran.
Paul Buonatello, some real high-profile heavyweights. And so that fight's going to be fireworks.
Wait,
Those
what is
two
Jake?
big-
What is Jake fighting at?
They're fighting at 205, and it's going to be two big boys in a small cage, so it's going to be fireworks on that one.
Was
and,
Jake always 205?
Jake's fought at 205 early in his career, and then he transitioned to 185.
That's it. I think of him as a middleweight.
Yeah, he's fought primarily at middleweight, but honestly, the kid is built like a army mule, and he's so much muscle, so thick bones that the weight cut kills him, and he performs so much better at his natural weight, so he's going to fight at 205 from now on.
All right, Jake Rochalt, you may know him. You remember him from the UFC. He's fighting Saturday night at XKO out there at the gym in Arlington. ExtremeKnockout.com. VIP tickets will get you Randy Couture meet and greet. Also, Johnny Big Rig Hendricks is going to be out there, another member of Team Takedown. Let's go back to Jake for a second. How close is he to getting back? Because, I was really rooting for him. He was an Oklahoma State boy, right? And a local kid and fighting out of here. And then, you have one break. They let you go. But he's been fighting his way back in.
Man, I can't speak for Dana White or Joe Silva, but hopefully it's close. He's, I think he's 6-0 on a 6 or 7-0 win streak since being released. He's trying to fight the best people that he can. He's called out a ton of people, and no one will fight him. Any high-profile guy that's been cut from the UFC, Jake's tried to fight, if that tells you guys anything. His hand's healed up, and he's probably had 5 or 6 fights fall through him on him in this year alone, so in 4 or 5 months. So he's doing what he can. He's
Nobody
in the
wants
gym.
to fight him. That's what I heard.
No
they
one
keep
will-
falling
I mean-
through because nobody wants that loss because they know that he's fighting his way back into the UFC.
Exactly. I mean, Jake's one-track minded, and that's
Yeah.
to be a UFC champion, and I feel sorry for anyone who is trying to stop him from that.
How about one of your other high-profile fighters, Shane Roller?
Shane
is out
Roller.
there. Tell me what Shane's been up to.
Shane recently moved up to Tulsa, Oklahoma to be closer to family and train. He's still part of Team Takedown. He's just kind of branched out, working on his own. So he's got a big fight coming up July 7th, I believe it is, in Las Vegas. So he's fighting John Alessio. And I'm excited to see Shane. I think the move to Tulsa is going to be really good for his mind and body, and I'm excited to see him get down on.
All right, it's the guys from Team Takedown. XKO Saturday night is going on. Jake Rochalt taking on some big dude that's going to be flat on the canvas fairly shortly. I promise you. We don't even need to mention that dude's name. It is XKO Saturday out there at the gym. ExtremeKnockout.com is where you get your tickets. Again, VIP tickets are for, look, you get seats in the first 4 rows, which is, actually, out there at the gym, everything's good. The seats are all cool. You can be sitting all the way in the back. You can see just fine. It's a great place to view these things. They've done a really nice job organizing that. But the VIP tickets are going to get you in the first 4 rows. Maybe get a little sweat on you, maybe something else. And it also gets you into the VIP, where you get to meet Randy the Natural Couture. You get a little meet and greet with Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. Again, we talked about Johnny. He's one of the top guys in the UFC at 170 right now. So and get out there. I mean, this is, folks, if you're MMA fans, and I know a lot of you will be hearing this on podcast in the next couple of days and stuff. Get out there. I've been saying this for years. We really got to start supporting the North Texas MMA scene. We need to create a situation where, I mean, I have a dream, and I might be an idiot here, but I have a dream where at some point in the next few years, people will be going to these fights on a weekly basis the way you might go to a Cowboy game or the way you might go to a Mavericks game. It'll be something that people are excited. There's going to be high-level fights. I mean, this isn't the sport of the future. It's the sport of now. I'm tired of people saying, oh, it's sport of, we're 5 years away. No, we're not. No, we are not 5 years away. We are in the middle of it right now. It's blowing up. And here's the other thing that I really love about this, and you guys might be able to speak to this. The comparison between boxing and mixed martial arts, which I was a boxing fan growing up. I like it, but I can't watch boxing anymore. It seems way too one-dimensional. It drives me nuts.
It's tough.
Isn't it?
Other than the few real high-profile fights and the very, very elite guys in the sport, it's hard to watch other than that.
No, you guys got to watch.
And I'm a fight fan. We watch fights from Muay Thai that we can't pronounce guys' names to Manny Pacquiao fights.
Back in the day where you'd get the VHS tapes that your friend would send you from, wherever the hell they were, and you'd watch them, they're all grainy.
I was just telling Chaz last night, cutting weight, that doing a grappling tournament, part of the prize for winning was I got to pick DVDs, and that's
Very good.
picked a bunch of
to watch.
DVDs to watch and study. And
Who's favorite fighter of all time?
oh man, would probably be Dan Henderson. Would probably be my favorite fighter. Just
Dan
'cause
Henderson.
you look at that dude's resume, he hasn't shied down from anyone. He fought in Pride when Pride was, the toughest SOBs in the world. Hey, regardless of, look at his resume, man.
Look, I love.
Rampage-
No, I'm not talking about Henderson. I'm talking about.
Fedor, he's fought them all.
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm one of these people, and I was those black VHS tapes that I was telling you about. Those were all Pride fights that people were
Yeah.
sending me.
Yeah.
I am now of the opinion that I think I overrated Pride. I think those fighters, those guys. I mean, they were.
At the time, though, they were.
You don't think so? Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think so. I mean, for like Vice was in the middle of saying, for their time, they were the cream of the crop where they are. Some of those guys got older when they came over here. Another thing you have to look at is, in Pride, and I don't know how many people did and how many people didn't, but there was no drug testing. And when
Yeah,
you're over there,
obviously, yeah.
when you're over there and your body's been used to performance enhancing drugs for that long, and then you come from there to the United States where they cut all that out and you no longer have that available to you and your body has to start making its own. I mean, that's a hard transition, and it takes a while for people to adjust. When you see the fighters coming over from Pride and losing their first couple but then bouncing back, I mean, it has to have something to do with their body just not bouncing back from producing its own hormones.
Like, here's my take on Pride. And I was my favorite fighter of all time. You guys may scoff at me, but still to this day, my favorite fighter of all time is Fedor. I love the image. I love the run that guy put on in Pride. Everybody gets old. Everybody gets too many miles. Everybody loses, the will. Everybody gets fat, rich, and happy, and possibly that's what's happened with Fedor. However, at his age, 34, 35, I don't think that you count him out. I think you let him take a couple of years off, maybe get the fight back, and then we'll see him. I still believe we're going to see Fedor in the UFC at some point. Maybe not next year, but at some point I think he will. He's a young enough man.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He's taking a lot of, he's got a lot of mileage on him. But here's my take on the Pride guys. And again, the Fedors and the Vanderleys and the Rampage, and those guys were wicked impressive at a time when I think the UFC was easily a second place organization to what Pride was going. But even today, you look at the European fighters and the Asian fighters that come over to America, and yeah, they have okay. I mean, look, they're warriors. They have okay success. But I just don't think that any of them have anything that can match an American collegiate wrestler. I think that's where you divide it. If you can control the guy on the mat, and these guys don't have that. They don't have any world-class wrestling. And they come over here, and they get, some people will say, oh, it's boring, lay and pray. Whatever, you win the fight. They've got no answer for it. And that's why I think Pride was a little overrated. Guys like Coleman would go over there, and Randleman would go over there, and they would dominate with their wrestling because they had nothing to match it. Well, that's just my thought on Pride.
That's a pretty fair assessment.
How about you, Chaz? Favorite fighter of all time?
Well, I already said him earlier. I've got
Hendo
three
again?
there. Yeah, Hendo and Diaz. Nick Diaz probably.
I mean,
is
I
up there.
pulled up
I feel
Henderson's
dirty
record.
saying Nick is one of my favorites, but he's one of my favorites too.
Back to Henderson. Why Chaz and I probably think he's over Fedor. If you look at this, Shogun Rua, Fedor, Cavalcante.
You used the wiki too,
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah. I
Me
pulled up
too. Every
Wikipedia.
fight stat.
He's fought Anderson Silva, Quentin Jackson,
Yeah.
and Anderson or Wanderlei Silva, Vitor again. I mean, you go up and down and put another fighter's resume against this one, I'd be pretty shocked.
Hey, look.
You know who's doing it? John Jones.
Yeah.
John Jones will have a
I'm
better
tapping,
record than, or better looking record than this.
I'm tapping the brakes on
with
John
names.
Jones right now because he seems too good to be true. And Diaz can hit the fan very shortly.
Can only go
And-
off his last fight and looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, with the tree. I saw the Bentley. That was he didn't
Hey.
win that one. That was definitely a loss.
I can't defend him on that one.
No,
But
I'm
he's
not
human.
I'm not bad mouthing Henderson. Look, Dan Henderson is one of my top 3, top 4s. I mean,
Yeah, no,
how can anyone not love that guy?
I just had to pull up some facts and
Yeah, all right, I got you.
Wikipedia is full of fact.
Are
Just so you guys know, if it's on there, it's
Just Google
true.
it.
Are
It is
you guys
true.
watching this season of The Ultimate Fighter? And do you guys watch this stuff and consume it the way a fan would, or because you actually live it and you're in the gym rolling every day? Is it just something you need to put out of your mind?
That's funny. We were cutting weight. You talk about anything and everything, but this was one topic that came up last night, and I do watch the show. I fast forward to the fights. I'm not into the drama that goes into
I love the
them.
drama. I love the personality. I like to see who I can hang my sponsorship on.
Exactly. I mean, and that's good for I just want to see the technique that's going to happen, but I can see why people do get behind it because it does build you up, and you're like, hey, I can relate to this guy because the one kid on the show that's in the finals, his dad passed away while he was in the house.
Mike Chiesa.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean,
who is it? It's Chiesa's fighting Ian Nupi.
Iaquinta.
Al Iaquinta.
Al Iaquinta. That's it. Yeah,
Should
two
be a great
difficult
fight.
names. Yeah, it's gonna be a whale of a fight.
So I think to speak for Chaz, he fast forwards to the fights probably too, just so we can see the technique, see the new talent that's going to be in the sport.
Will you guys be trying out next year?
No, but yeah.
Why not? Why not? You already went once. Did you burn a bridge?
Chaz,
What'd you do?
Chaz won't have to.
They don't let gays in.
Oh, is that it? Not
No.
yet? Oh,
No,
be careful
not
with
really.
that Twitter.
Man, no, I won't be trying out because I feel like I can make it. I feel like I've got 2 fights lined up. I'm fighting on
So you're
the
gonna make it
second
organically.
in July 28th. I'll be headlining at Fort Worth Convention Center, so you guys make it out to that too. But I think I should be knocking on the door pretty good. So, but yeah, I mean, I love to watch The Ultimate Fighter just so I can, cuss the guys on there for making it when I didn't make it. I mean, that's the only.
You guys see Chaz. You guys will see Chaz fight on Saturday, and his skill and talent will prove to everyone that he'll be in the UFC shortly.
Who was the kid we had from Fort Worth last year that did really well out there?
Johnny Bedford.
Johnny Bedford.
He's a real close friend. Yeah, we started. I started with him, and he's one of my closest friends. So I'm glad.
How's he doing? I've lost track of him. He's in the UFC, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He won his first fight really convincingly. He was set up to fight his second fight, and the guy the day before or 2 days before couldn't make it over for his visa, didn't get cleared or something, and he didn't make it. So Johnny was out there in Chicago,
Looking for a fight.
cutting weight, and they told him, you're not fighting. And then he was supposed to fight Nick Denis, I think's his name. Johnny got an injury, so he's out for a good 6 weeks, but he'll be back stronger than ever. He's a trooper.
Besides you guys, besides Chaz Skelly and Chris Feist, who are some local North Texas guys that we could be looking at? I mean, I need some new names. I love Marcus Hicks. I like watching him fight. Travis doesn't fight anymore. Who should we promote? Who should we be looking for? We got Johnny Bedford out there. We've got you guys. We've got Shane. We've got Johnny Hendricks, Jake. Who else? And any other guys that names we ought to know?
Jared Rochalt is Jake Rochalt's brother. He's gonna be the next big thing at heavyweight. I mean, the guy's just like ton of skill.
Is he older or younger than Jake?
He's younger, but
He's the little big brother.
Big brother,
yeah.
but he's bigger.
exactly.
Walks around at 6'3", 2, knocking on 270.
Really?
Phenomenal athlete, like Chaz was saying.
Wrestler?
Yeah.
Again?
Most winningest heavyweight in Oklahoma State history.
How old is this kid?
He just turned 25, I believe.
All right.
And
he's in prime.
not to beat on the team takedown, yeah, I think he's 24, but 4-0 record. He knocked off 3 wins in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So the kid loves to fight.
So first rounders, right? He didn't get any sweat in.
I think he let one of them go to the second round just so he could work on some stuff. But he's a phenomenal athlete. He's, like you said, he's knocking upwards of 270, and he moves like a 185-pounder.
So let me ask you this. I know there's a weight difference, but can little brother kick big brother's ass?
I'm not going to air out what goes on in the room, but it's pretty entertaining.
Okay, all right. I'd love to see that.
It could be worth the price of admission on its own.
Nothing like two brothers letting 25 years of pent-up hostility out against each other.
I don't know
Chad.
about fighting, but Jared and I have been calling Feist and Jake out on a golf game for the last couple months, and they are scared. they're avoiding the game. So
All right.
These guys get instructors for golf, by the way.
Philip, you were chomping at the mic. You had a couple of fighters that you wanted to mention, or did we get them all in?
No, it was just Jared. He's
Jared
the next
Rochal.
coming. Like I said, 3-time All-American. Jared actually lost in the finals to Conrad his senior year. Everybody's knocking
Cole
on,
Conrad?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's they're knocking on the door. Bellator really wants him, and He's coming off an injury. He's been out for 7 months, and he's fixing to come back strong in August.
We've mentioned Bellator a couple of times. Bellator, let's get him in Bellator needs some heavyweights. They need some depth in that division. They've got
The
one
UFC
or two
needs
guys.
Jared.
But the
UFC instead
Jared.
of Bellator. All right, I'm a Chicago guy, and I go way back with Bjorn, so I like Bellator, but I guess the paycheck's probably a little better in the UFC.
Well, I like their format, but their champions just don't get to fight enough. Or I don't, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's.
Chaz has fought for him, so Chaz might know a little bit more in the details.
Give me some chest.
There's two guys from Fort Worth area that William Capizano. He's already fought in WEC and he's fought in the UFC. He walked around at 130 and he was fighting at 35 and 45. So that's now that 25's here, he's gonna make a big impact there. And Evan Cutts just fought on Legacy and beat Lee King, and then he beat Reagan Penn, who's BJ Penn's little brother. So
Evan.
he's
I
gonna be
train
one
with
coming
Evan.
up. He's 21 years
legit.
old, and he's the most respectful, willing to learn person I've ever met. So
BJ Penn, I mentioned Fedor. BJ Penn is probably number 2 of my all-time favorite fighters. I remember watching him from, the very first fight I ever saw him in, he pinned my best friend from growing up. He tapped my best friend from growing up, who was a 4-time Illinois State high school wrestling champion. He lost once in 4 years of high school. And in Illinois, we take wrestling serious there. Illinois, Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, wrestling's big. And I saw this BJ Penn pin my friend Joey Gilbert, and I just went, holy crap, I got to watch this guy. Do you know, here's a little motivation for you. Do you know what BJ Penn's estimated worth is?
$5 million.
$40 million.
Wow.
$40 million.
Good for him.
Apparently he comes from money. His family owns a sugar plantation, so he inherited some of that money. But he didn't inherit $40 million. I mean, he has made some money in this sport.
Yeah, he's a hard worker.
Yeah.
Had the right fights, and that dude is, in my opinion, is one of the most talented fighters there's probably ever stepped in. From his boxing to his cage work to his ground game. I mean,
to his BJJ,
he's
which
phenomenal, top and bottom.
he's smart with it too. Yeah,
He's phenomenal.
You ever heard an interview with BJ Penn? You want to know what BJ Penn thinks? Go to bjpenn.com.
yeah, well, hey,
ChazSkelly.com.
I remember a couple of years back there was a hurricane bearing down on Hawaii, and I was watching bjpenn.com for live cover. He was covering it live on his website. It was awesome. All right, very good. I'm glad you guys like BJ Penn because he's one of those guys that people either like or they don't like. I like Nick Diaz, Fedor, and BJ Penn, so I don't like the glamour boys. I like guys that can fight, that can win, and got a little bit of an edge to them, and maybe some bad press or something like that. All right, Chaz Skelly and Chris Feiss, they joined us here. It's XKO Saturday night at the gym in Arlington. One more time, I'm going to tell you where to go to get yourself some tickets. ExtremeKnockout.com. That's ExtremeKnockout.com. VIP tickets will get you seats in the first 4 rows and an opportunity for the meet and greet with Randy, the Natural Couture. Johnny Hendricks, Big Rig, going to be out there as well. You can meet Johnny, take some pictures there. That's going to be on Saturday. All right, guys, best of luck to you, and we look forward to the big fights on Saturday.
Awesome. Appreciate you having us.
All right, Chaz Skelly and Chris Feist from Team Takedown. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do a little bit more. We've got still douche of the day, and Jimmy, maybe I'll tell you, we'll play it by ear. We'll come back. We'll figure out what we're going to do because I know we're running late. It's thebarlive.com PMS, the Pugs Moran show for a Wednesday afternoon. Back after this, thebarlive.com. All right, we're back. It is thebarlive.com. PMS for a Wednesday afternoon. We're into bonus time, sudden death overtime, we'll call it. Jimmy Ryan,
What's up, man?
sorry you were kind of put to the side for the last hour there.
Oh, that's all right. It's probably best. I'm able to watch UFC, but I definitely am not. I've always appreciated, like, for instance, like Joe Rogan, where he's able to really understand what's going on up there.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great. Although there is something about Joe Rogan. All right, look, I first of all, Joe Rogan, loved him on News Radio, loved him on Fear Factor, love him on his podcast, JoeRogan.net. Absolutely love him as the color guy. Or is he color or play-by-play? Yeah, he's color.
Mm-hmm.
As the color guy for the UFC. I mean, this guy is the John Madden of the UFC. I don't know. Really, 10 years from now, he'll still be doing it, and he'll just be an institution in this sport. He knows... He knows a lot. He knows he's not just a great comic. I mean, he knows a lot about what he's talking about there. So Joe Rogan is great. But I did notice something on Saturday night. There were some big fights on Saturday night, and it made me chuckle. And I tweeted this. Joe, there has never been a fight about to happen that Joe Rogan didn't think was going to be the greatest fight of all time. You know, it's every single fight. It's his job to sell it, to the audience. But his enthusiasm is so infectious, and at some point, I'm not buying into that because I'm a high level MMA fan. I know who should probably win each and every fight. So his over the top sort of, this is gonna be a war. Oh, I'm excited. This guy, I'm like really? I'm not that excited about this. All right, but even me, he gets me excited. I'm like, maybe you know something I don't. All right, this will be good. But yeah, Joe Rogan has never been about to call a fight that he thought was going to be a stinker. Yeah. Every fight is the greatest thing that you are about to see.
I believe it. I watch the Joe Rogan Experience, and every once in a while he'll veer
now, what is
off.
That? What is that?
That's his podcast. Mm-hmm. He'll just veer off into UFC, and usually for me, like any type of sports talk, I'm usually just not interested because usually they're breaking down stats or anything like that. But you're right. Joe Rogan has this infectious excitement about it.
Yeah.
That, like, he could be talking about like old Roman fights that were going on. It will never have effect on me. And anyway, and like he's so excited about it that I'll sit and listen to it. And I'll actually start learning.
This
quite
reminds me of when Thaddeus took on Odin in the Colosseum back in 630 BC. Yeah, no, he's the best. He is just the best. I got nothing bad to say about that guy. All right, let's do a little douche of the day here. We're going to wrap it up quickly. I'm sorry, we did a lot of fight talk there. A full hour of fight talk. I totally lost track of time. I didn't have my phone either. My phone was charging over there in the corner. So I was like, all right, guess what? Douche of the day. Jimmy, here's the douche tournament. We'll do this quickly. Is it the babysitter who got my son sunburned? Is it the meth heads on BMX bikes who broke into my car on Friday night while I was buying aloe vera for my sunburned son and stole my computer and all of my stuff? Or is it the Dallas police officer who could really care less about the fact that I had just been victimized right in front of him? Remember, the Dallas police officer said, "Oh yeah, I heard your car alarm going off." "Oh yeah, that was your car alarm? Yeah, I'm just sitting here in my car." I probably could have rolled up and if you're a cop and you hear a car alarm and you're just sitting there and the car alarm is going off in the parking lot where you are, don't you just at least take a lap? Don't you take a lap just to, make your presence known?
You never see like the bat signal go up and like Batman's just like throwing down a pint. I'm not really bothered by that. That's literally your calling card. You're supposed to be over there.
That's why it goes woo, 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 so that anyone, hopefully a police officer in the area, might investigate what that noise is. It is awful. All right, so that's our douche categories. We've got the babysitter. Mm-hmm. We've got the. Let's eliminate the babysitter right there. Look, it can happen. It's not a big deal. It's his first sunburn.
Are you close with her?
What?
Are you close with the babysitter?
No.
No?
No.
Because I was going to throw her in the same heap with the police officer, actually.
Nah, it was a spur of the moment thing. It really wasn't her fault.
Okay. I don't know enough about the details, apparently.
Yeah,
okay.
Look, this kid got sunburned. Look, the sun is out. The kid's going to go outside. It's going to happen. I mean, I can't carry
Fair enough.
We're gonna spare her.
Okay.
She feels the babysitter. I'm certain feels bad enough. Although I haven't talked to her, but I'll tell you, the mother wants to hang the babysitter. So so I've got to balance it out by being nice. All right. So is it? Well, I'm eliminating that one.
Okay.
The meth heads on BMX bikes, like 30-year-old guys on BMX bikes. First of all, they tried to take a child safety seat. First, how are you going to carry that away in a hurry on your BMX bike? What are you gonna one-handed it? I mean, that doesn't seem practical. At some point, you'd be dropping that anyway if a chase ensued.
No, but see, it's not practical, and that's why they found my soft spot.
Oh, really?
I mean, meth heads are going to be meth heads, and they might as well play the part, which means that they're going to try to pull things out that they probably have no need for, but also are going to go through the effort of riding off on a BMX with a baby. That's the kind of things I expect from my crackheads.
It's really cumbersome to carry on the BMX bike. I don't know how you're going to do that. And also, I had to chuckle to myself, too. If you are not a parent, if you have never installed or tried to take out a baby seat, when you know what you're doing, it's difficult. It's like there are straps that catch. You can't pull a baby seat out quickly because it's the shoulder harness goes through, and sometimes it clips on inside the baby seat. And that's basically what happened. It was clipped inside the baby seat and then buckled into the seatbelt. So when they pulled it, they had it out the window, but it was still attached to the seatbelt. So they couldn't get the seatbelt off, so it was just hanging out the window.
Oh, wow. I know that they're a pain because I have a nephew, and I'm not very good with kids. This is the first kid that I've ever held when he was a baby. So I'm not really all that aware of like how things work around the kids. And I was bringing him. He was in the back seat. My sister had put him in the back seat, the little baby thing, whatever they are. And I go back there, and I realize now that I'm over at my mom's place that I have no idea how to do this. And I turn to him. I'm like, so do you know what's going on here? Like, how does this work?
How does this work? Have you ever installed your own baby seat? And he's just looking at you like...
He was of no
What are
use.
you, worthless?
Yeah.
You're an adult. I have no clue what this thing is. It's always been there. I thought it came stock on the car. You're asking me how to put it in and out? I'm 3.
I spent the next 30 minutes trying to take that damn thing off before she pulled in, and I was like, will you please figure this out?
Yeah.
Please.
My first installation of the baby seat was like a 45-minute process, and it was like we had the instructions. I'm like, okay, and then this thing goes here. And then finally my friend Aaron, who's got 2 kids, he pulled up, and he was coming over for a different reason, and I was putting in the baby seat, and he goes, let me do it. And he did it in like 3 seconds. It's like once you know what you're doing, it's just zip, through, clip, snap. You're done. But when you've never done it before, you're like, all right, where does this go? And plus, you're overly officious because you think, my child's safety is now in my hands. So you're making sure that everything is absolutely perfect.
Well, and it didn't help that I'm asking him for instructions, and he's just kind of waving his sticky hands all over the place, and I'm like trying to get around him. Is that
His
the
little
part where
Kool-Aid, and he had popcorn earlier, so there's kernels stuck to the back of his hand that he didn't even know was there because of the Kool-Aid making it all stay. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. All right, so who's the douche of the day?
I'm going to have to go with the cop.
Got to go with the cop.
Yeah.
Got to go with DPD.
Because I like people that act the way I should expect them to. You know, a crackhead is supposed to act that way. The cop, on the other hand, is not supposed to act the way that he did. I like to know that when I walk up to somebody and I've already kind of mentally figured out who they are. Oh, crackhead. He's going to act like a crackhead. I'd like to know that the cops are going to, respond in kind. They're actually going to be a cop when I talk to them.
I had a thought after it was all over when I was driving the kid back home with the window slunk down because they had shoved the window all the way down into the thing. As I was driving home, I thought to myself, I said, you know what? If this ever happens again, I'm gonna try and maintain my wits, and I'm going to remember to record it. Everybody's phone's got a video recorder.
Yep.
The next time, I wish I had this run-in with this cop recorded on video. I wonder if his attitude would have changed if I was filming him while he was laughing. Oh, you ain't getting that back. Or, yeah, I heard the car alarm. I saw those kids on bikes. Hey, they're right there. You want to go get them? And then basically, he didn't want to arrest them. That's why he rolled through the parking lot so slowly and then put the lights on, giving those kids on bikes a chance to get out and run around. They immediately went behind the strip mall and back into some trails or wherever, into the neighborhood. He gave them an opportunity. All right, I'll go check it out. And he didn't want, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know why he was hanging out in the Lifetime Fitness. Probably some ex-girlfriend was working out and he was stalking her or some weird cop thing that he was doing. He did not want to arrest these kids and have to take them in. He didn't. He gave them every opportunity to get away.
And it's not the first time that I've seen things like this happen, which makes me really second guess these people that say that there isn't a certain allotment of tickets that cops are supposed to give out, because they will
You
never.
mean quotas?
Yeah, I mean, they'll never come
I've
up
never
to you.
cracked that. I've had cops who are my friends, and they I believe it's true.
Yeah.
I've heard people who are around cops say it's true. Never heard a cop admit to it.
I don't know. I haven't either. But the thing that I really have a problem with is that this lack of commitment to actually stopping a crime in progress. That's literally your job description. They won't do that, but they won't stop midway through a ticket, and say, you know what, had a change of heart. This is really not that big of a deal. That will never happen.
No.
They will go through with that every single time. So something about the system in which they are part of is totally screwed up.
I have not. This officer that I dealt with on Friday night, he was not there to serve or to protect. What he was is a crime janitor. That's all he is.
Yep.
He shows up after everybody's been victimized and all the bad stuff has gone down, and he mops up, and he does a horse crap job in the mop up too. This was a bad cop, and for that reason, you DPD officer, who I didn't get your name or your badge number because I was a victim and not really thinking straight, you are today's douche of the day. Ugh.
Well done.
All right, watch list. It's Wednesday night. I got some things on DVR that I want to watch because I didn't watch a whole bunch of stuff this weekend because my kid was sick and we watched kids' movies all weekend. So and again, it's Saturday. I don't know what the hell's on. Watch list. You know what I'm going to watch? I'm going to watch Veep from Sunday night. I've got two weeks of Veep that I'm going to watch. Are you watching Veep?
Is that the girl from Seinfeld that's in it? Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
She's up there. She's an iconic female television actress, and to you, she's just that girl from Seinfeld.
I couldn't actually remember her name. I do know her by name, but only from Seinfeld and also from Curb. I mean, she was in Curb every once in a while. But really, she hasn't done all that much else. That's kind of the joke, isn't it?
No, what do you mean she hasn't done that much else? She was
What
on
else has she
Saturday
done?
Night Live for years.
She was on Saturday Night Live?
Remember?
No.
Yes, Julie Louis-Dreyfus was on Saturday. That's where she
Was
started.
that pre-Seinfeld?
That was pre-Seinfeld. Yeah, she got Seinfeld because she was known as a funny hot chick on Saturday Night Live.
See, I think
And
you're
she was
lying.
like 19 when she started on Saturday Night Live. She was really young.
Yeah, but she wasn't a household name on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, for a period of time in the 80s, she was, sure. Yeah, she was.
Because I have heard that Larry David was keen to doing it because she was known, but she wasn't like a superstar. Like people weren't freaking out about it.
Nah, not a superstar, but she was
Yeah.
well known. She was known to the extent that I don't know. I was trying to think of some other not well known
But I mean,
Saturday
like
Night Live girls.
I think that she would be the first one to admit that. Didn't she do an HBO show where she was supposed to be somebody who was really big for a second, and now she isn't?
Well, no. Here's what she's done. I mean, she's had a lot of television success. She had Saturday Night Live, and after Saturday Night Live, she did a number of years on a sitcom called Step by Step, which was wait, was it Step by Step or was it? I don't know. It was a sitcom that I didn't watch, but she had a run on that for about 3 or 4 years after Saturday Night Live, and then she jumped right to Seinfeld. Became this iconic character of Elaine Bennis on Seinfeld. And then after that, she was the only person from Seinfeld who had a hit show after Seinfeld, and that was the Real Adventures of Christine or whatever that was, which ran for about 4 or 5 years on CBS. And now she's got this show Veep on HBO, where she plays the Vice President of the United States. And it's basically Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld as the Vice President of the United States. I watched the first couple of episodes and I was like, it's But I stayed with it because I like her so much. I find her very funny, and she's a very funny comedic actress. And I stayed with it. And you know what? It's a good show. It's a funny show. It's a little bit... It's a strange juxtaposition because all of the other dramatic or televised impressions of the White House or the West Wing that we've gotten have been fairly dramatic. Whether it was the West Wing or something like this is like a comedy where she's the Vice President of the United States, and there are a couple of funny running gags that are on the show that I really enjoy. She's got a secretary. The secretary to the Vice President is this black lady who is so mean. She's just this really mean, cold, realtor, almost military in the way that she talks to people, because everybody's always trying to get in to see the vice president, and she's like the gatekeeper. She's like really mean. But the running gag is, and it's been in every episode, and it's kind of the underlying vibe of the whole show, and that is that the vice president of the United States does nothing. There is nothing for the vice president to do. They don't have any responsibilities. They don't have anything. And the running gag is she'll call her secretary and she'll say, I need to put this on the schedule. And can you tell me what we did on the 25th? Because I need to have a story for what I was doing on this night. And I don't remember what it was. And also, I'm going to need to meet with the senator or the chairman of the House Ways and Means. Can you get his office on the phone and make sure that he's in my office when I get there? And did the president call? No? Okay. Every phone conversation ends with, did the president call? No, he didn't? No? Okay. Like, the president is constantly being talked about in the show, but we have never seen him, and I don't think we're ever going to see him.
Oh, that's funny.
I think that's the point of the show, that the vice president has zero access.
Yeah.
Like, the president only put her on the ticket because he needed the votes that she would bring. She was a popular female senator, and he put her on the ticket, and now he's just, like, done with her. He doesn't know what to do with her, and she's always saying things and getting in trouble and slipping up and putting her foot in her mouth. It's a funny show. I like it.
That does sound like a good concept. You know, it's also kind of the way that I feel about our current presidency to an extent, the way that you describe it.
Yeah, like Obama has nothing to do with Biden.
Yeah.
Biden's just out there killing time. You know?
I mean, Biden is probably one of the only people that have been president or vice president in like the last, well, I don't even remember one that I know I would have a good time with him. I know I would have a great time.
Biden seems awesome.
Yeah.
Biden seems fun.
Yeah.
He's got no responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
He'll hang out, he'll have a couple of beers with you.
Yeah, like usually you want somebody that high up to have a beer with them or something because, you know, you'd want to learn a lot about a thing, you know, or two. But I don't think that I'm going to learn too much from. I think that I'm going to learn how to have a good time with Biden.
Sure. Yeah. Now, Joe Biden, I've always said this, Joe Biden reminds me of every cool radio station GM I've ever worked for. Doesn't he look like he'd be a radio station GM?
Yes.
Yeah.
He definitely does.
Smiling all the time. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. You know? Yeah. He does. He reminds me of that. Another funny thing on Veep that happened last week was she's in trouble with the media. The media got hold of a story that they're trying to like really rake her over the coals on because she fired her Secret Service guy. She had him reassigned. And it was very Seinfeld. Like there are very Seinfeld like moments in this. You can tell that's the comedy style that she's most comfortable with.
Right.
Like for instance, she was talking with her chief of staff, who by the way is Anna Klumsky. Do you know who Anna Klumsky is?
No, I don't.
Remember the movie My Girl?
Nuh-uh.
Macaulay Culkin and the little girl. You don't remember My Girl? That's
I
your
remember
wheelhouse, dude. That's when you were a kid.
Yeah, I remember that there was a movie that Macaulay Culkin was in called My Girl, but I never saw it.
Yeah. Well, Anna Klumsky plays her chief of staff, all grossed up, and I mean, still looks like My Girl from My Girl, but cute, and sexy because I like the smart business suit chief of staff Washington kind of chick.
That is a good look.
That's kind of hot. Yeah, it's kind of sexy, but. The vice president is walking with her chief of staff, and she says something incredibly vulgar to her chief of staff, like, you know, I'm gonna fuck him with an axe pick or something like that. Mm-hmm. And her Secret Service guy behind her went, and like laughed, like chuckled, and she turned around and she looked at him, and then she turned to her chief of staff and she's like, he's supposed to be an android, right? He's not supposed to react to that. He hears everything. He's not supposed to laugh. He's not supposed to have any. Isn't he like one of those guys on for the Buckingham Palace? He's got to be reassigned. I can't have him. And so she had him reassigned because she felt it was inappropriate that he was reacting to her intimate conversations with her chief of staff when he's supposed to just be, you know, Secret Service.
Right.
And so now the press heard. And the press is raking her over the coals. Veep has personal security reassigned for laughing or for smiling or something or acknowledging a joke. It's a good show. Veep on HBO. How about Girls? Are you watching Girls? I know Sam was watching Girls on HBO.
I watched the first episode and I've seen tidbits of it since then. I really like the writing. I think that the writing is genius. I totally dig that style. But the problem that I have with it is like it's another one of these shows that like forces sex scenes. I mean, just like it seems like everybody is just so pent up at home and not getting sex that they need a storyline that basically starts out with 4 sex scenes and then there's like things in between. Like that's what premium channels have turned into.
I can't watch that show.
No?
I've given it 2 episodes for the very same reason. There's a lot of forced stuff. I don't find the writing to be good or bad. I just don't find it all that interesting. There's
Really?
nothing. But then again, it's a depiction of the lives of 20-something girls in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not. I'm not the demo anyway. So yeah, I can't watch that.
I think that the writing style is good. I like the dry sense of it, like the way that she is never
I
trying
don't
to
like the
force
lead
a
girl.
joke. Oh, you don't?
I don't like her.
I think she's really good. I just think that it just that part of it is just ruining it. I think that it should be nothing but that dry, calm like thing, you know, like and I think that it's just
I'll check it out again.
Yeah.
I watch all those HBO shows on demand. Maybe I'll check it out again, but I've been off that for like 3 weeks. I just can't.
I definitely understand how people would just never even bother to tune back in.
How about here's one for you? Game of Thrones. Are you watching this?
No. And I'll never get into anything like that. I don't like action.
Why?
I don't like action.
It's not action. It's drama. It's Shakespearean. It is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if I'm gonna go into that, I'd rather learn about like what really happened. I know that's lame. Yeah,
Well, Game of Thrones isn't. It's a fable.
right.
You know, it occurred in like some magical medieval time where.
Yeah, it's the reason why I never got into sci-fi, and people always give me crap for this because
I
I'm a
never
big
got into
geek.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, I'm a huge geek. I love science, but I don't like having it mixed in with the fake version of it because I feel like I only have a certain amount of space in my brain, and I'm going to start touting around the idea of anti-gravity to my friends, and I'm going to be like, oh, sorry, that was actually in a sci-fi
Or remote
thing.
viewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on.
I just don't want to mix the two.
All right, what about Battlestar? Have you watched it yet? You said you downloaded
I have
it.
it downloaded. I have not started
Not
it yet.
watched episode 1 yet?
Not yet. But I'm definitely, that
Episode
is
1 is
next
cool.
on my my list for sure.
But don't just watch one.
No. I want to go through a ton of them because I've been told many times that this is one that I will get into.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. As a matter of fact, when we sign off here, I'm going to show you something online.
Okay.
It's very funny. It's a very funny Battlestar Galactica YouTube video with Fred Armisen from Saturday Night Live. It's very funny.
Okay.
All right, that's it. We're done. That's going to be it for the show. Don't forget, we've got the Y&R guys coming up here. They're going to be doing a radio show here in a couple of hours at 4 o'clock. Y&R, You're Never Right Radio. Check that out, please. Also, Big Dave and Big Dave and Show. I'm sorry.
Big Dave and Show.
I don't know why I didn't say show. Big Dave and Show will be coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. You can check that out as well. Also, the podcast will be available on iTunes, or you just link it from the thebarlive.com website. Also, YouTube and all that stuff. All right, that's going to be it. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of PMS, the Pugs Moran Show. Our thanks to the guys from Extreme Knockout. Once again, extremeknockout.com. Big fights going on this Saturday night out there at the gym. Extremeknockout.com is where you can get tickets. The VIP tickets will get you a meet and greet with Randy the Natural Couture and Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. And I cannot tell you enough. This guy's a burgeoning young superstar in the world of MMA, and we got him right here in our own backyard. That's going to be it for Jimmy Ryan. I'm Pugs. It's thebarlive.com.